While everyone else is busy screaming for their lives, our guy Hansoo just catches a goblin mid-air and looks it in the eye like he's checking the expiration date on a carton of milk. He isn't just surviving, he's playing a different game than everyone else. To the people watching, he's a monster. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to the beginning. Imagine you're just minding your business, and the sky decides to quit its job. People are panicking, looking for their kids, and Hansoo is just standing there with the ultimate, "I'm so done with this" energy. See, people have been going missing for years, but Hansoo knows the truth. When he turned 20, he was devoured by a power that doesn't care about your data plan. He was sent to the other world, a dimension filled with things that definitely do not want to be your friend. The abyss is opening, and the Great War is about to kick off. Hansoo has 5 years to become a god or die trying. The only problem? He regressed. All his old gear and max-level stats? Gone. He's back to level 1 just as the sky starts cracking like a cheap screen protector. Then, this thing falls out. It's a purple imp with a tail, clearing its throat like it's about to read the terms and conditions. It calls itself the Assistant Fairy. Hansoo recognizes the vibe immediately. This thing is a psychopathic tutorial guide. It starts talking about surprising opportunities, but one guy has had enough and demands to be sent back home. The fairy asks him politely to listen, but the guy keeps acting like a Discord mod who lost his kitten. So the fairy stops smiling. It starts talking about infinite freedom. Freedom from laws, ethics, and most importantly, freedom from physical limitations. The fairy snaps its fingers, and the loud guy's internal organs suddenly decide they want to be external organs. It's messy. The fairy literally apologizes for the mess, saying it just hates loud people. Then it goes back to killing anyone who keeps screaming. It's not a demonstration anymore, it's a vibe check from hell. Now that the room is quiet, it pulls out a rune. These are your power-ups. Kill things, get stats, become a hero. The fairy offers a strength rune to the crowd, but everyone is too busy trying not to vomit to step up, except Hansoo. He walks up with the confidence of a guy who's already seen the walkthrough. The rune enters his body, and the fairy starts explaining how his muscle limit just increased. Hansoo is bored. He knows this already. He knows the runes, he knows the system, and he knows that this fairy is just the warm-up act. The fairy tells everyone to gather as many as they can if they want to live. Suddenly, everyone is a gamer. They start fighting over the leftovers like it's a Black Friday sale. The fairy just laughs and says there's one more trick. Touch your right ear and you get a status window. Hansoo checks his stats. Strength 11, HP 9, Sense 8. It's pathetic. He's basically a starting character in a Dark Souls run. The fairy admits the start is unfair, but it has a gift to make them happy. It tells them to enjoy their new lives and hands out basic knives. Then, with a poof, it's gone. Tutorial? Someone asks. And that's when the city turns into a literal slaughterhouse. Welcome to the tutorial. Stage 1. Goblins. They're coming from behind in a massive, screeching wave. People are freezing up, hoping this is just a prank from a very high-budget YouTuber. It's not. The goblins are here for blood. A girl tries to keep everyone calm, telling them to move back slowly. It's a great plan, until the city itself decides to join the chat. A blue hexagonal barrier appears. "Let us out!" someone yells, but the barrier isn't a wall. It's a gate, and the number flashing on it is 50. 100 people, 50 slots. You don't need to be a math genius to see the problem. One guy accidentally passes through, and the counter hits 49. The realization hits the crowd like a freight train. They stop being humans and start being animals. They trample each other, screaming "move," while Hansoo just watches them with pure disgust. He remembers this part. Last time, he was one of those crying idiots. Not today. The goblins start their buffet on the slow and the weak. The crowd is begging for a hero, so Hansoo decides to step in, not because he cares about them, but because those goblins are walking bags of EXP. He draws his knife. He moves like a ghost, cutting through the monsters before they can even blink. He complains that his body is slow, but then he picks up 2 dexterity runes. His reaction speed increases by 0.1. That doesn't sound like much, but in this world, it's the difference between being a player and being an NPC. Everything slows down. Hansoo faints, drives his blade through a goblin's skull, and lands like he's in a K-pop music video. The blood riles the rest of them up, but that's exactly what he wanted. He's not just fighting, he's grinding. Each goblin that falls is another step toward the power he used to have. The survivors are staring at him, terrified by the efficiency of the slaughter. Hansoo doesn't stop. He knows that dawdling is a death sentence. The tutorial is just a 3-month protection period. Once it's over, the 2nd and 3rd years will be thrown in with them. If he isn't strong by then, he's just a snack for the veterans. He finishes the last of the pack and looks at the carnage. He tells a mysterious voice named Cheldian that they made the right choice sending him here. He stands in the center of a goblin graveyard, and the only thing the survivors can say is, "He's a monster." Hansoo just smiles. Being a monster is exactly how you survive the first day. The fairy is back, looking entirely too happy about the pile of bodies in the corner. The survivors are calling it a devil, which is the most accurate thing anyone has said all day. The selection wall is coming down. The city is open. Our purple mascot has other areas to go haunt. It leaves with a good luck that sounds like a threat. The crowd immediately starts screaming. It's a mess. Hansoo? He's just checking his stats. Strength 14, Dexterity 10. For a tutorial start, he's basically a smurf in a bronze lobby. Plus, he looted a little something extra. A jagged black blade. The system calls it a symbol of courtship. Gross name. Great edge. Now he needs to get strong. Fast. He starts thinking about his old crew, Eris, Kong Tae, Keldian. He remembers a conversation from his previous life. A guy once told him about hidden dungeons. Dungeons tucked away in the tutorial area that no one could clear. Highest difficulty. Impossible rewards. The guy talking was strong, but he only made it halfway. He was a member of Valkyrie, one of the top guilds later on. He told Hansoo that if he'd cleared that dungeon first, he could have beaten him. The logic is simple. The harder the grind, the bigger the loot. The goal is set. But before he can speedrun the subway, he has some trash to take out. In the first stage, everyone usually sticks together for safety. 1 week of hunting per area, 3 months until the veterans arrive and the real slaughter begins. There are 2 hidden pieces in this stage. Hansoo needs both. He's scanning the area, looking for the first one, when he hears the sound of someone being a main character without the stats to back it up. Conflicts are breaking out. People are already trying to play boss. This guy is trying to force a girl to join his group under the guise of teamwork. Hansoo tries to walk past. He's got a schedule to keep. Then, someone calls his name. Do you know me? The blonde guy looks offended. Apparently, they were all together right before they got teleported. Hansoo has to physically reboot his brain to remember. Oh, college classmates. Right. They all died in his first life, so he just deleted them from his memory. Efficient. The girl, Mai-hee, breaks away from the creep and runs to Hansoo. She's the campus idol type. Hansoo looks at her and thinks, she's going to attract so much trouble. And would you look at that? Trouble is standing right behind her. The thugs realize who Hansoo is. They saw him farm those goblins earlier. They figure if they jump him while he's tired, they can take his runes. They surround him. The leader starts the classic villain monologue about how Hansoo looks hurt. He's talking nicely before things get ugly. Hansoo is just sighing. He's seen these types 1,000 times. They get 1 kill and think they're the god of war. They have zero idea who they're standing across from. The thug leans in. Hansoo's eyes go dark. Do you understand what I'm getting at? He grabs the guy's wrist. The guy's face goes from tough to traumatized in 2 seconds. Hansoo pulls out the symbol of courtship. Suddenly, a new voice tells him to calm down. Enter the big boss. Scar on the face, red shirt. This guy actually looks like he knows how to throw a punch. He suggests they all act together. He's smiling, but his eyes are measuring Hansoo's throat. He can see it. Hansoo isn't scared. He's adjusted. The boss realizes Hansoo is just like him, someone who doesn't hide his nature. An outlaw. Hansoo grips his blade. He's calculating the time it would take to end this man. Then he remembers Eris, the one person who kept him human in the first life. She told him not to kill needlessly. She spent her life saving people Hansoo would have left behind. He decides to let it go. Not because he's nice, but because these guys aren't worth the stamina. Whatever. The boss tells his lackeys to let it be. He's got a bigger goal. Setting order in this city. The fairy loves this. The chaos, the power struggles. The boss realizes the fairy's rule is simple. The strong rule. He leaves to go build his kingdom of corpses. Taesung is shaking. Humans are scarier than goblins. Welcome to the party, kid. He's looking at Hansoo like he's a stranger. And he is. The Hansoo they knew was a parentless who sat in the corner and didn't matter. He asks why Hansoo pretended not to know them. Hansoo stares. It's memory loss. He's acting like an old man because, mentally, he's lived 2 lifetimes. He starts walking. Mai-hee is laughing at the memory loss joke, not realizing it's the truth. Hansoo looks at her. In this world, beauty is a double-edged blade. It can be a weapon, or it can be a target. They walk in silence. Where are we going? They reach the entrance. The first destination. Hansoo's face is stone. The subway station. Gangnam Station. They stand at the top of the stairs like they're about to enter a dungeon boss room. Mai-hee is confused. Why here? Hansoo doesn't want to explain. He hates talking. He realizes he needs to give them something or they'll just be dead weight. He tells them he has a hunch, a superpower. They believe him instantly. I mean, fairies exist, why not intuition? The blonde girl in the back is whisper asking if it's safe to follow him. You don't have to. Hansoo doesn't care if they leave. He respects individual preferences. If you want to go die in a gutter, be his guest. Taesung is already getting annoyed. He hates that Hansoo is the one in charge. They head down into the dark. It's quiet. Too quiet. Are we going somewhere safe? Hansoo smiles. It's not a nice smile. We're going to meet some friends who already live here. Hansoo stops. He draws his blade. Mai-hee screams. Taesung, dodge! The ground explodes. Hansoo plunges his blade into the concrete. Green worms. They sense vibrations and strike from below. If they bite you, their mouth is filled with anesthetic. You'll faint, and then you'll be lunch. The squad is terrified. Hansoo shows them the simple way to deal with them. It's basicamente guacamole with a high chance of death. He watches the group. 4 of them are useful. But the headphones guy? He's hesitating. The girls are already catching on. It's like a game. Headphones guy tries to psych himself up. I can do it. The worm launches. Hansoo moves faster. He splits the worm in midair. The guy falls. Hansoo doesn't want the thank you. He just walks away. He'll only end up being a burden. Brutal honesty. Taesung asks how Hansoo knew it was coming. Superpower. He's sticking to the lie. The group is just staring. They go back to hunting. Hansoo picks up a rune. Maihee asks why he isn't taking all of them. They want to carry him like a pro gamer so he can protect them. Hansoo stops. You take what you hunt. This is a rule from the abyss. The veterans established it for a reason. Relationships based on goodwill always end in a knife in the back. They'll realize soon how nasty this place is. The thing you must trust most are your own abilities. If you're useless, you're bound to be dumped. The group is stunned. The reality check just hit like a truck. They start moving on their own. They don't want to be dumped. Hansoo knows they'll get used to it. Eventually, they'll be fighting like dogs over every drop. They keep clearing the station. Then, one of them finds something strange. Taesung is holding a glowing purple stone, the essence of the Akrul troll tribe. Taesung thinks he just won the lottery. If I take this, I'll gain a superpower. Taesung is currently peaking. He thinks he just found the legendary cheat code that's going to make him the new protagonist. He's even asking for permission to keep it, while making it very clear he's not giving it back. Hansoo just nods. Honestly, he's probably just glad he doesn't have to listen to the guy whine for another 10 minutes. The Akrul Troll Essence is actually a solid pickup for the early game. It's a passive rune that handles defense and regeneration. In a world with no healthcare, that's basically a VIP membership. The only downside? It makes you extremely hungry. But hey, in a lawless wasteland, you can just steal a sandwich after you get buff. Now, let's talk about how the power scaling actually works here. Runes have ranks. The higher the rank, the harder the carry. Most of the legendary mages Hansoo knew in the future had hundreds of these skills. Keldian, for example, was a walking encyclopedia with over 1,000 skills at his disposal. But Hansoo was built different. And by different, I mean the system basically nerfed him from birth. Gangnam Station, Part 2. In his past life, while everyone else was collecting skills like Pokemon cards, Hansoo was staring at a hard cap. 7. He could only ever learn 7 skills. Period. At first, it looked like a total L. His teammates even felt bad for him. Being restricted like that in a world that demands versatility was supposed to be a death sentence. But this weakness had a hidden upside that no one saw coming. Endless evolution. Because he only had 7 slots, the skills in those slots could evolve past their natural limits. 7 stars. That was his nickname. He caught up to the top players despite starting 20 years late. That trait is exactly why he was chosen to come back. So, this time around, he can't afford to waste a single slot on trash. Every choice has to be perfect. If he sticks to the script, the tutorial is going to be a walk in the park. Meanwhile, Taesung is busy having a main character moment. He absorbs the essence, and you can practically see his ego inflating in real time. He gains a physical resistance stat and starts acting like he's invincible. His stats are jumping, and he's feeling himself. He looks at Hansoo and thinks, what a moron, giving this up for free. He's already planning his revenge arc for being insulted earlier. Hansoo doesn't care. He's already moving. Taesung catches up and puts a hand on Hansoo's shoulder. He's trying to act like the strong leader now, protecting everyone from the front. Hansoo is just staring at the hand like it's a piece of garbage that landed on his coat. He decides to let it slide for now because, honestly, the comedy of this guy's delusions is almost worth it. The squad heads deeper into the station. Maihee asks the obvious question, why are we even going down here? To ride the subway. Hansoo isn't joking. He's following the meta-knowledge Keldian gave him. Keldian was always the guy with the answers. Even back then, he was the type to shut down everyone's arguments with pure facts. He was the one who told Hansoo about the ultimate shortcut in the tutorial, the hidden piece down in the subway tunnels. Most of the stations are just monster-infested death traps, but if you find the right portal and go deep enough, there's a subway train that hasn't left yet. It only stays for 1 day. They reach the portal. It's a massive, swirling wall of blue energy that definitely wasn't there in the real Gangnam Station. Maihee is hesitant. She knows that stepping into that is a point of no return. Hansoo gives his standard response, go back if you want. I'm moving. Taesung jumps in first. He's got troll blood now. He's fearless. Maihee follows. She's starting to realize that staying close to Hansoo is her only real survival strat. She's getting antsy. She remembers what happened with the outlaws earlier. She knows that being the pretty girl in this world makes her a target, not a guest. The rest of the classmates are split. The headphones guy Songjin is terrified. Taesung mocks him for being a coward. Songjin snaps back. The stress is starting to turn these friends into enemies. Taesung doesn't take it well. He's already starting to act like a bully because he has a slightly higher strength stat. Hansoo shuts it down. Stop with the pointless arguments. He's a professional. He doesn't have time for a college drama. He walks into the light. Taesung is seething. He hates being told what to do in front of Mihee. They step through. The terrain shifts. Hansoo is scanning the area. He knows the spawn patterns. And then, he finds exactly what he was looking for. A convenience store. Right in the middle of a dungeon. Hansoo starts looting. The convenience store isn't a reward, it's a prep station. Taesung is looking for more weapons, thinking like a casual. Hansoo is looking for kitchenware. Keldian said this place has everything you need to survive the next floor. He grabs a pot and puts it on a portable stove. The group is just watching him like he's lost his mind. Hansoo, what are you doing? Cooking. Mihee looks into the pot, and her face goes pale. It's the green worm blood he collected earlier. Now it makes sense why he was hovering over those worm corpses for so long. Goblin skin is naturally reactive. When it touches green worm blood, it creates a venom so potent it can melt through mob armor. Taesung walks over, smells the pot, and asks for a bite. It's poison. Hansoo's delivery is so dry it's practically sandpaper. They ask how he even knows the recipe. Superpower. My brain is welling up with knowledge. In reality, he spent years memorizing these abyss life hacks. Knowledge is the only thing that doesn't reset when you die. Keldian was the one who drilled this into him. He told Hansoo never to share this information with anyone. Knowledge is a limited resource. If everyone knows the secret loses its value. Hansoo finishes the batch. He pours the purple sludge into a bottle. He applies it to his blade. Mihee asks if they can use it too. Sure, Hansoo is a businessman. Half a strength or stamina rune per application. Taesung loses it. You're being way too petty. Hansoo doesn't blink. He knows that free rides create weak players, and weak players die and take you down with them. One-sided relationships are a liability in the abyss. Taesung realizes he has no choice. He needs the buff. Hansoo just gives him a look that says, I told you so, without saying a word. He warns them not to get it on their hands. It's not a moisturizer. Taesung is seething because he can't even try to steal it. It's too dangerous to touch. The rest of the group pays up. Hansoo is officially the richest man in the subway. He starts the next phase of prep. He grabs a backpack and starts filling it with essentials. The others see him doing it and follow suit, grabbing everything they can carry. Hansoo looks at them and just sighs. They have giant backpacks full of junk. They look like they're going on a camping trip. Unless you want to be bait, bury half of that. Mihee looks at Hansoo. She's starting to see past the weird quiet guy persona. She sees a survivor, a professional. She remembers the news from back home. Hundreds of millions missing. No one ever came back. She realizes that if she wants to see day 2, she has to stop being a civilian. She has to do her part. And she has to stay close to Hansoo. The dynamic is shifting. They leave the store behind. Taesung is still mumbling under his breath. He's trying to boss around Songjin, but the vibe is gone. They ask Hansoo if they can get a superpower too. Probably. Hansoo is thinking about the future. He tells them that several people developed special traits in this world. The group gets excited, thinking about being superheroes. Hansoo's internal monologue is much darker. Keldian's voice is in his head. If someone's not of use to you, get rid of them. Taesung notices Hansoo's mood shift. You've gotten pretty rude. Hansoo doesn't answer. How do you explain 5 years of constant despair to someone who's been here for 5 hours? 5 years of fighting things that shouldn't exist. Watching hope die in real time. Despair drapes over everything after a while. It dulls the soul. Taesung thinks Hansoo is just acting cool. He's waiting for the moment he gets strong enough to take Hansoo down. He's already imagining dating Mihee and bossing Hansoo around. Hansoo stops him. He points to the ground. Slime. Hansoo identifies it instantly. It's not a snail. It's not a zombie. It's something much worse. Land mermaids. And they just found the group. We're back. Still in the subway. Still surrounded by things that want to eat us. Hansoo checks the ground. Slime trails. Land mermaids. Not fast, but they have paralyzing venom. If you get hit, you're basically a buffet. They'll take your limbs like they're ordering off a menu. But Hansoo has a plan. He always has a plan. Taesung is already complaining about Hansoo acting like a know-it-all. Hansoo just ignores him and tells the group to help. He pulls out the prep from earlier. Firebombs. No gasoline, but the convenience store alcohol should do the trick. Molotovs. Simple. Effective. Taesung calls it a convenient superpower. This guy still thinks Hansoo is just lucky. He actually tells Hansoo he must prefer this hellscape to the real world, because he can do whatever he wants. Taesung is projecting so hard you could use him as a cinema screen. Hansoo's internal monologue is a war zone. Keldian is telling him to just kill Taesung now. Eris is saying no. Hansoo takes a deep breath. He's choosing to be patient. For now. He draws the plan in the dirt. It's basically 1 throws, 3 attack. Taesung mocks his drawing skills. Priorities, I guess. Taesung wants the front line, not because he's brave, but because the front line gets the runes. Hansoo asks for a volunteer to throw the firebombs. Mihee and Songjin both raise their hands. Arguing with Mihee is a waste of time, so Songjin gets the job. Actually, Hansoo decides they'll take turns. Equity in the apocalypse. They head deeper into the dark. Songjin is shaking. He looks like he's about to throw up his lungs. Maihee is trembling too. She's realized that the pretty girl armor doesn't work against monsters. Hansoo tells them to be alert. They're here. Throw a bottle to the source of the noise. Maihee fumbles with the lighter. She psychs herself up. She's actually trying. The bottle flies. Boom. Instant mermaid flambe. Hansoo moves. He tells the others to watch out for the spit. He's tearing through them. Taesung is already getting salty that Hansoo is farming too many runes. He charges in, desperate to not lose to the rascal. He gets too close. A mermaid lunges. He barely dodges. He's panicking. His main character fantasy is hitting a wall. He lands a hit and thinks he's a god. He's hyped on the venom buff. Hansoo is just casually picking up runes in the background. Taesung thinks he's catching up. The mermaids are screeching. The group is actually holding their own. The plan is working. Fire makes the venom flammable. Hansoo's blade is dulling, but with the fire-poison combo, it doesn't matter. He's basically using a lightsaber made of toxic sludge. Taesung is still swinging like a madman. He sees more runes on the ground. He goes to grab them and gets hit by a spray of paralyzing spit. Instant L. He falls. The mermaids close in. He's looking up at a maw of teeth. There's a whole squad of them now. He's paralyzed on the floor, looking like a discarded hoodie. He starts screaming, "Get the hell away from me! Help me!" The leader has left the building. Maihee is out of firebombs. She tells Songjin to switch with her. Songjin is fumbling the lighter. He's too slow. He throws it, but it's a total brick. Taesung gets blasted by the splashback instead. Dumbass! Taesung has a very specific way of saying thank you. Hansoo drops from the ceiling. He clears the area in one stroke. Calm down. Follow the plan. His voice is so calm, it's actually terrifying. He tells them to pick up the runes. Taesung is breathing hard. I thought I was dead. The troll essence heals his leg instantly. Hansoo tells him to rest and get his runes. Taesung looks at the pile. That's all I get? He's watching Hansoo pick up the high-tier stuff. His face goes dark. He's smiling, but it's the "I'm going to kill you in your sleep" kind of smile. He turns on Songjin. He asks if Songjin has a conscience. He grabs him by the throat. The internal conflict just went from verbal to lethal. Taesung is choking Songjin. He's blaming him for almost dying, even though he's the one who walked into the spit. Maihee screams at him to let go. Taesung drops him. He tells Songjin to make a proper judgment from now on. He starts insulting Songjin's dad. High-tier bully behavior. He reaches for the runes on the ground. Ah, what the f— Hansoo's hand is there first. That's not your share. Taesung argues that giving runes to Songjin is throwing them in the bin. Hansoo's face is stone. Distribution must be fair. Taesung mumbles about livelihood. He's clearly planning something. Hansoo tells him to watch his own share. The tension is thick enough to cut with that serrated blade. The group keeps moving, but the team is officially dead. Maihee asks Hansoo if he's annoyed. She knows the infighting is slowing them down. I'm not going to complain about something you're bad at. Hansoo doesn't have expectations, so he doesn't get frustrated. Maihee asks if he's staying with them until the end. She's noticed that Hansoo looks like he's ready to ghost them at any second. It's up to you to follow me, cold, but honest. Most of the drops are stamina and strength. Hansoo checks his stats. Strength 25, stamina 24, just one more. Suddenly, the fairy pops up like an unwanted pop-up ad. Hansoo smiles. I got him, huh? The fairy is impressed. Hansoo is the fastest traveler. Apparently, the admins love people who actually try. She offers him a small gift. Maihee is watching this and realizing how far ahead Hansoo actually is. Isn't that unfair? She asks. The fairy's face goes from cute mascot to demon in half a second. She tells them they don't kill people just because they don't like them, but there's bound to be exceptions, and you could be one. Then she laughs. I'm only kidding. She definitely isn't kidding. She lectures Maihee on fairness. If you have an advantage, you don't throw it away just to be equal. Life has always been unfair. This world just stops lying about it. Time for the reward. Hansoo already knows what it is. 3 runes of his choice. The fairy offers dexterity, sense, or a healing rune. A healing rune is basically an extra life. The group's eyes light up. They want that safety net. They're already hoping Hansoo will use it on them. Hansoo asks, is there a rune that is immune to magic? The fairy is surprised. Of course there is. She drops 3 of them. Hansoo isn't taking the noob trap healing runes. Magic and physical immunity runes are impossible to find in the tutorial. Stamina only helps you recover. Immunity prevents you from needing to recover in the first place. He can dodge physical hits with experience, but magic is a different beast. Fairy leaves. I'm counting on you. She calls him handsome Appa on the way out. Taesung and Maihee are just confused. Let's get moving. Hansoo is back to business. The group is still processing the Appa comment. They reach the 3rd floor. Maihee takes down a monster. She's getting better. She notices Hansoo is doing something else with the runes. She's got sharp eyes. Hansoo has hundreds of runes, but his speed hasn't increased. She asks why. Hansoo shows his wrist. Tattoos. What's that? He explains how to collect runes without consuming them. Superpower. He's still using the lie. Mihi wants to try it, but Hansoo stops her. It slows down the hunt. You can't hold as many, and if he dies, all the runes drop like a loot box. He's keeping them to trade later once rules are established. Taesung is furious. Why can't I do what you can? Hansoo just sighs. These guys don't even know what game they're playing yet. They'll figure it out once things get worse. Hansoo grips his blade. We're in for an overhaul. The group is confused. Hansoo tells them he doesn't care if they follow him or not. But I need you to listen to me right now. Hand over all your weapons to me. Taesung reacts exactly how you think he does. Hansoo points out that their current blades are basically butter knives against what's coming. Taesung calls him ridiculous. His logic is, if we give you the weapons, how do we fight? He thinks Hansoo is just trying to disarm them so he can loot them like a bandit. Mihi tries to step in and offer hers, but Taesung tells her to shut up. Classy. Hansoo stares him down. He asks Taesung if he actually wants to fight the guy waiting downstairs. Hansoo knows Taesung is clueless. He doesn't even know what it is yet. This is where the line is drawn. Option 1. Hansoo leaves and they die on their own. Option 2. They stay back and let the professional handle it. The choice is simple. Songjin and Mihi choose life. They're staying back. Taesung tries to pull the teamwork card again. He claims Hansoo is just trying to steal all the loot for himself. He's realizing that if Mihi stays behind, he's lost his audience. Hansoo looks at him. Friend is a funny word to a regressor. He thinks about Keldian, who would have already disposed of Taesung by now. Hansoo needs to get to the Indigo Zone ASAP. He can't waste time. He tells them to figure it out downstairs. Taesung smirks. He thinks he's clever. He assumes Hansoo is chasing a treasure. They run down the stairs, and Taesung immediately regrets every decision he's ever made. The opportunity just revealed itself. It's a monster from a different dimension. The scaled snake. It's massive. It's shiny. It's hungry. Taesung is frozen. He can't believe Hansoo is going to fight this alone. He decides Hansoo is just insane. The snake locks on. Hansoo drops his bag and moves. The snake lunges. Hansoo's reflexes are peak. The snake opens its mouth and fires. A magical shockwave rips through the tunnel. Concrete explodes like it's made of crackers. Hansoo takes the hit. Magic resistance 13. It's the only reason he's not a red stain. This thing is a tank. Ordinary swords won't even scratch the scales. The snake coils for another strike. Hansoo is dodging by inches. But he knows the weakness. The armor is strong, but the gaps between the scales are the sweet spot. He lands a hit. The snake screeches. He's planting daggers in the soft tissue. The snake tries to crush him with its tail. It's like dodging a falling skyscraper. Hansoo dives. Another shockwave. He's struggling. This isn't a stomp, it's a grind. He pulls out another blade. He's looking for the kill shot. The impact shakes the entire station. Smoke clears. Hansoo is coughing. The snake is finally reacting to the poison. Even with high resistance, tutorial bosses have a ceiling. And that ceiling is Hansoo's homemade venom. The snake is slowing down. Hansoo has 5 blades left. He preps for the final rush. Let's have some fun until it takes effect. Mihi is watching from the stairs, terrified. The sounds of the fight are echoing like thunder. Taesung asks why she's standing there. He wants to run back to the convenience store. Mihi doesn't move. I have to go see him. Taesung is fuming. He hates being ignored more than he hates monsters. Songjin follows her. Taesung has no choice but to follow. They reach the bottom floor. Mihi calls out to Hansoo. And her heart stops. Hansoo is in the snake's mouth. Blood is everywhere. Mihi screams his name. The squad thinks it's over. Hansoo is snake food. Hansoo is thinking, I stalled for too long. He's not dead. He's just in a very bad position. He stabs upward from inside the jaw. The snake thrashes. Hansoo rolls out of the impact zone. The snake is convulsing. He managed to land 3 poison blades in its throat. His arm is shredded, his clothes are ruined, but with his stamina, he'll heal. In the later stages of the abyss, this poison is useless, but right now, it's a carry. He stands up. The snake stops moving. Boss down. Hansoo stands over the corpse like he just finished a shift at a warehouse. Mihi runs to him, frantic. You're still here? Hansoo is genuinely surprised they didn't run. Mihi checks his arm. Hansoo calls it a scratch. Taesung is in the back, having a total meltdown. He's realizing the power gap isn't a gap, it's a canyon. Hansoo kneels by the snake. Reward time. He pulls out a glowing white stone. Scaled Snake's Shockwave. It's a magic-based skill. Hansoo can't use it yet. He only has 7 slots, and he's not wasting one on a mouth beam. Taesung instantly wants it. Songjin points out that Taesung already has a rare skill. Taesung tells him to shut up and know his place. Mihi tells them to stop fighting. Hansoo watches them squabble like kids over a toy. I'm going to sell it. 5% discount if you buy it now. Taesung asks if he can pay in installments. The apocalypse has a credit system now. Hansoo waits for a decision. Mihi steps up. She'll take it. Hansoo noticed she already consumed a magic rune earlier. She's smart. She's building a deck for survival. The price: an agility rune, 3 sense runes, and 7 stamina/strength runes. Hansoo takes his cut. Mihi calls him thorough. If you get into the habit of getting free stuff, you'll die. Truth hurts. There is no such thing as a free lunch in the tutorial. Now, the real reason they're here. Scaled snakes only spawn near Zooterium. He finds the deposit. Massive glowing crystals. He breaks off a chunk. Superpower time! He starts shaping the metal with his bare hands. The group is just watching him work. He's crafting something long and thin. Mihi is hyped to see what it is. He throws snake scales and parts into a pot. Snake skin is strong but useless as a blade. You have to refine it. The 11th of 134 weapon combinations. The needle. It has a limited area of effect, but if you hit a weakness, it's game over. It's a bit blunt because he crafted it by hand, but it's exactly what he needs for the next boss. Alchemy in the tutorial is a grind, but it's worth it. He needs this to break through his defense. The guardian of the second hidden piece. He wraps the hilt. Finished. He mumbles about how he could have made a better one with a cocoa lizard. Taesung is just staring, mouth open. Can I buy that? He's offering all his runes. He thinks his current blade is trash now. Hansoo says no. It's a tricky weapon, and he used up all the materials. Taesung calls him a selfish. He decides to endure it until he finds better loot ahead. They reach the end of the line. A clean, functioning subway train. Taesung thinks he's finally going to reap the rewards. Hansoo blocks the door. This is for one person. Get out! Taesung is stunned. Songjin points out that the train is spacious. Taesung loses it. What rule says you have to go? You came this far with our help. Hansoo looks at him. Help, you say. He calls them fools. No rule says I have to go first. Because there are no rules in this world. He points his needle at Taesung's throat. Settle this with me here, or get off. Choose any one of the two. So, the door slams shut. Our guy just kicked his entire team to the curb, and Taesung is taking it exactly as well as you'd expect. Which is to say, he's currently vibrating with pure, unadulterated salt. He's standing there wondering if Hansoo was actually serious about the I'll kill you part. Spoiler alert, he was. But Taesung's ego is doing some Olympic-level mental gymnastics right now. He starts thinking that if the three of them jump Hansoo at once, they might actually have a chance. He figures worst-case scenario, they just apologize and Hansoo lets them off with a warning. Clearly, he's been reading a different manhwa than the one we're watching. Because Hansoo doesn't do warnings, he does results. Taesung freezes up just from a single look through the glass. The train pulls away, and for the first time in this apocalypse, Hansoo is finally alone. Mihi is actually the smart one here. She realizes they pushed him way too far. She knows they owe their lives to this man, and provoking him was a massive L. She tells the guys to keep moving. They need to find a way to survive without their human cheat code. Taesung, of course, is already planning his revenge arc. He's obsessed with getting stronger, mostly so he doesn't have to feel like a side character anymore. Inside the train, Hansoo is running the numbers. The subway makes 20 stops. Each station has a random artifact, and once you pass a station, there is no going back. It's a literal one-way track to power. He's already at the 12th station. He's collected 8 weapons so far: Laroon's circlet, Kettle's nails, Ograng's steel glove. Basically, he's currently a walking armory. The circlet reveals monster weaknesses, which would be amazing for anyone else, but Hansoo already has the entire monster encyclopedia downloaded into his brain from his past life. He's hoping for a mobility boost next, something to make him faster. Instead, he finds a box of Maniac's Cloud Snack cigarettes. But these aren't for the aesthetic. They boost all rune stats by 20% for 10 minutes. In the tutorial, that's basically a legal hack. He stares at the purple box. It's been a while, and suddenly, he's not in a subway anymore. He's back in the future, standing behind Eris. She's the one who used to tell him that smoking didn't suit him, told him he'd ruin his handsome face. Hansoo snaps back to reality. He whispers that it'll be different this time. The doors open. He checks the platform. Empty. He has 4 days until the next big hidden piece spawns. 2 options: grind for runes or hunt for nutcase missions. He checks the mission board. Most of these are suicide runs for regular people. One reward catches his eye: the Stone of a Sage. It boosts stats by 10 and heals fatal wounds. It's a get out of jail free card. But he remembers who cleared this mission in the original timeline. Anvi Aaron. A woman who was betrayed by her own squad and spent 7 days tearing them apart. Hansoo decides to skip it, not because he can't do it, but because his current goal is to save people, not recreate a horror movie. He finds a better one. A night mission. The selfish rich man's food bag. He needs to secure stamina before the moon rises. He heads toward a convenience store to stock up on food, but the place is trashed. Everything is gone. He realizes some rascals are moving faster than he expected. He's not mad. He's actually a little impressed someone had the guts to steal from him. Cut to the rascals. It's a group of guys in suits, looking like they're moving furniture on a Saturday. Mai-hee and the rest of the original group are hiding behind some rubble, watching. They're complaining that the suit thugs took everything, including their share. Songjin is trying to be the voice of reason. He says there are too many of them to fight. Mi-hee is stressed. She thought they had more time. One of the thugs, a guy with a bandage on his nose, looks over. He smiles and waves. The group is terrified. They realize they've been spotted. Taesung tells them not to respond. He wants to leave. He tells them they'll find supplies somewhere else. But Taesung isn't running away. He's plotting. He walks right up to the thugs. He tells them if they want real food, they should follow him to the subway. Taesung is trying to pull a pro-gamer move. He thinks if he sends a small army to fight Hansoo, Hansoo will be forced to ask him for help. The lead thug isn't buying it. He grabs Taesung by the collar. Taesung doesn't even flinch. He slams the guy into the pavement. He tells them to think carefully. He's giving them a chance to not be weaklings. Back at the base, Mi-hee is looking out the window. Hansoo finally shows up. She is visibly relieved. Even after he kicked them out, he's still the only person who makes her feel safe. Taesung is in the corner, wearing his "I didn't do anything wrong" face. Hansoo tells them he knows about the stolen food. He asks how much they have left. The answer is basically a couple of candy bars and some water. Taesung tries to act tough. He says they should just steal it back. He offers to help Hansoo, since it'll be too hard for him alone. Hansoo just sneers. He tells them to eat first. Taesung loses it. He slams his hand on the table. He starts lecturing Hansoo about fairness. He says they risked their lives for this food, so Hansoo needs to give them something in return. Mi-hee tries to stop him, but Taesung is on a roll. He's trying to win the moral high ground trophy. He tells the group they shouldn't expect free things. The other two side characters are nodding along, mostly because they're hungry. Taesung thinks he's won. He thinks he's finally turned the group against Hansoo. He's waiting for Hansoo to beg. Hansoo just sighs. He says what a shame. Taesung thinks he's being clever. He tells Hansoo to share whatever he found in that secret place. The rest of the group perks up. Secret place? Taesung is exposing the hidden piece. He tells Hansoo to be a team player for once. Hansoo looks him dead in the eye. He tells Taesung that he's learned well, but he also points out that Taesung isn't being subtle at all. Hansoo decides he's done. He's not taking them around because he needs them. He stands up and walks toward the door. He whispers to himself that he did what he could. He remembers his old teammate, Kang Tae, used to say cringy lines like, "I will destroy you." He tells the group to stay safe and strong for the future. He's actually leaving. The group is stunned. The girl in the blue jacket tries to de-escalate. She tells Mi-hee they should go bring him back. Taesung tells them to let him go. He thinks Hansoo will come crawling back for food. He calls Hansoo an arrogant. He's convinced Hansoo can't survive without a team. But then he notices Mi-hee isn't listening. She's looking at the door. She runs after him. She asks if she can come along. Hansoo tells her flatly, "I can't take you with me." Mi-hee's face drops. Then Hansoo adds, "But it's up to you if you want to tag along." Her face lights up. This is the first time she's actually being treated like a person instead of an escort quest. Taesung stomps out. He's fuming. He tells Mi-hee she can't go. He threatens her with the runes he gave her. Then, something unexpected happens. Songjin, the headphones guy, speaks up. He says he's going with them too. Taesung grabs him. He threatens Songjin's family. He calls him a stray dog. Songjin is shaking, but he doesn't back down. He asks Taesung how he's going to tell his dad anything when they're trapped in an apocalypse. He realizes that in this world, Taesung's money and status mean absolutely zero. He tells Taesung he's done listening to him. Taesung is left standing in the dark, completely alone. He screams at them to get lost. He says they'll be back when they're hungry. He's a man who has lost his audience. Hansoo, Mi-hee, and Songjin are walking through the ruined streets. Mi-hee is worried about the food. Hansoo tells her it's pointless to worry. He opens his jacket. Suddenly, they all turn into chibi versions of themselves. Songjin is losing his mind. He has no idea what Hansoo is thinking. He's wondering why Hansoo is so calm when they're starving. Hansoo is just focused on the goal. He looks up at the sky. He says it's almost midnight. Mi-hee asks why that matters. The tone shifts. The air gets heavy. Something is very wrong with the moon. It's glowing with an unnatural, sickly light. The moon isn't a moon anymore. It looks like a giant, lideless eye staring down at the city. Whatever is coming at midnight, Hansoo is the only one who knows how to survive it. And it's about to start. Midnight hits, and the sky literally starts looking back at you. The moon opens its eye, and Mi-hee is rightfully losing her mind. But the sky being creepy isn't even the worst part. Songjin looks down and realizes his snacks are pulling a Thanos. Every piece of food they've spent the last few days scavenging is turning into literal sand. And then, the second phase of this nightmare kicks in. People start glowing. The moon eye is essentially turning on wall hacks for the entire city. Everyone can see exactly where everyone else is hiding. It's a battle royale setup, and the devs just forced a map reveal. Songjin asks Hansoo if he knew about this. Hansoo pulls the "Who, me?" "I'm just a guy with superpowers" act, but that smirk says it all. Across the city, the screaming starts. People are realizing their food is gone, they're starving, and they can see their neighbors' glowing outlines. Hansoo's internal monologue is just, "Yeah, this world is trash." He knew exactly why hoarding food was a waste of time. The moon eye ensures that if you have it, you lose it. He starts walking into the dark. He's got a mission to finish, and the clock is ticking. Meanwhile, back at the Loser Squad HQ, Taesung and his remaining cronies are having a panic attack. Taesung realizes Hansoo played them like a fiddle. He's fuming, blaming Hansoo's superpowers for his own lack of prep. Then, the girl in the blue jacket spots something outside. Glowing outlines. A lot of them. The suit thugs are here, and the guy with the bandage on his nose is looking for the kid who scammed him. Taesung realizes they're cooked if they stay put. The girl suggests running to Hansoo. Taesung's ego is so big he actually asks if they have no self-respect. "Buddy, you're starving and surrounded. Self-respect is a luxury you sold 3 chapters ago." The girl points out that if the thugs find them, they'll just lead them to Hansoo anyway. The other side character agrees. They want to cut a deal. Taesung pretends he's doing them a favor by agreeing to a temporary alliance. He's already planning how to use this to get a favor from Hansoo later. They try to sneak out the back, thinking they're being stealthy. And then Taesung steps on something green and slimy. He faceplants hard. It's Oren's flypaper. It's basically superglue for humans. He screams for his friends to hold his hand and pull him out. They don't. They just stand there, because the suit boss has arrived. And he looks like he's done playing games. Taesung tries to act tough, throwing insults from the floor. The boss is actually pretty calm about it. He kneels down and explains that while Taesung was playing main character, the thugs were busy setting up traps. He's tired of the talking. He asks where the rest of the group went. And then, he gives Taesung a reminder that he's not in charge anymore. The impact breaks the floor and probably a few teeth. Taesung breaks instantly. He starts snitching before the boss can even ask a second time. He offers up Hansoo's location on a silver platter. The bandage guy walks up, grinning like a shark. He hasn't forgotten about Taesung hitting him earlier. Taesung is internally cursing his friends for abandoning him. The boss tells the bandage guy to keep the beating moderate, which in thug language means leave him alive, but barely. Taesung watches through the pain as his former squad runs for it. He swears he's going to kill all of them. Classic villain behavior from a guy currently being used as a doormat. Cut to Hansoo's campfire. The meat is bubbling. Hansoo, Mihi, and Songjin are having a literal barbecue in the middle of a glowing apocalypse. The blue jacket girl and the other guy show up, looking like they just ran a marathon. They realize Hansoo knew about the food to sand trick. They try to walk up and join the meal, acting like everything is cool. Hansoo doesn't even look up. He draws his sword and carves a line in the asphalt. "Don't you come in here." The girl starts crying about how they didn't do anything wrong and it was all Taesung's fault. The other guy tries to act tough, asking what Hansoo will do if they just walk in. Hansoo gives them that cold, "I've died once already" smile. He tells them his superpower says it won't end well for them. And he adds one more thing. He tells them it's about to get dangerous. Right on cue, the suit thugs emerge from the shadows. The boss is smiling. He's found the mother lode. Hansoo just keeps eating. Mihi looks at him, terrified. She realizes the peaceful part of the night is officially over. The selfish rich man's food bag mission is currently active. The condition sounds simple, but it's a psychological trap. You have to cook and eat as much as possible while the moon is out. But the catch is, you have to be selfish. In a city where everyone is starving and glowing, you have to voraciously consume everything while refusing to share a single bite. The tutorial designers are basically running a social experiment with a body count. Hansoo is staying perfectly calm even as the suit thugs surround him. Taesung limps into the light, looking like he went through a blender. He's pathetic, covered in bruises and shame. He starts screaming at his former friends for leaving him behind. He unloads a verbal mess of curses, trying to make his cowardice their fault. The boss tells him to pipe down. He turns to Hansoo. "Nice to meet you again." He asks where Hansoo found the meat, acting like they're just having a friendly chat. The boss is confused because they had others test the monster meat and they all almost died from toxicity. Hansoo casually tells him the secret, boil it in goblin blood. He's giving away the meta like it's nothing. The boss looks at Taesung. Taesung had told him Hansoo has superpowers and the hidden piece. The boss decides that today is the day they take him down. He figures they have the numbers, and Hansoo is just a 20-year-old kid. He thinks Hansoo might be good at fighting monsters, but humans are a different story. He tells Taesung to go have a bite and chat with his friend. It's a power move. He's using Taesung as a meat shield. Taesung is terrified, but he's more afraid of the boss than he is of Hansoo. Mihi stands up, her hand shaking. Taesung walks toward them, trying to find some scrap of dignity. Mihi warns him not to cross the line Hansoo drew. Taesung snaps. He calls her and tells her she's going to get hers. Hansoo stops eating. Looks like this is the end. He whispers an apology to Eris. And then, the world blurs. Taesung doesn't even see the movement. A foot slams into the pavement right in front of him. Taesung is sent flying, flipping through the air like a rag doll. He hits the ground, screaming about his feet. He's crying, asking how Hansoo could do this over a piece of meat. He starts trying to turn the thugs against Hansoo, telling them Hansoo will kill them for runes later. Kill him now or you'll never have a chance. The boss realizes Taesung is actually right for once. If they let this kid get any stronger, they're all dead. The thugs pull their knives. They've got him surrounded, and he's glowing in the dark. The boss looks at Hansoo's eyes and feels a chill. Those aren't the eyes of a college student. Hansoo remembers the arguments between Eris and Keldian. Eris said to be kind. Keldian said to crush your enemies before they can even think about coming back. In this moment, Hansoo realizes they were both right. He activates his rune tattoo. He pulls out the maniac's cloud snack. The thugs charge. Finish him off! Hansoo breathes in. He moves. Blue light trails behind him as he splits the air. He's testing the mission rewards on them. The thugs can't even track his speed. He's a ghost in a blue hoodie. The impact of his strikes sounds like thunder. He's not just fighting, he's clearing the room. Bones are snapping, but Hansoo doesn't stop. The boss watches his entire squad get dismantled in seconds. He realizes Hansoo must have absorbed every hidden rune in the station. He tries to rally his men, telling them not to run away. But his voice is shaking now. He charges with his knife. Hansoo sidesteps him like he's standing still. The boss starts screaming about murder. He's trying to use the laws of the old world to save himself. You're just a kid! You can't take a life lightly? Hansoo looks at him. The needle flashes in the moonlight. Steel meets flesh, and the boss's red shirt gets a much darker shade. The leader of the suit thugs falls. Hansoo stands over the body, his expression unchanged. The ground is covered in blood, broken knives and broken egos. Hansoo has officially cleared the area, leaving the suit thugs to wonder if they accidentally tried to raid a world boss. He stands over the bodies, completely unfazed. He asks the survivors if they still have a wish to fight. Unsurprisingly, the answer is a hard no. The remaining thugs decide that running for their lives is a great secondary stat to invest in. Hansoo walks back to his camp, and then he just goes back to eating. He tells Mihi she can stare all she wants, but she's not getting a bite. She just laughs it off. She's starting to realize that with this guy, rude usually means you're safe. They finish the meal while the rest of the station is literally starving to death. The Moon Eye event is finally ending. The light fades from the sky. The giant eye in the moon blinks and shuts. The world goes dark again. Hansoo feels like throwing up because he ate 3 days worth of food just to trigger the mission reward, but it was worth it. He pulls out the selfish rich man's food bag. It's a subspace item. It carries 5 times the capacity and keeps food fresh forever. Mihi stops him. She asks if it's okay that he didn't kill the thugs he just beat up. Hansoo looks at her, and for a second, things get heavy. He calls her a scary woman. She gets flustered, saying she was just worried about his safety. But Mihi's thought process is actually the meta for this world. She realizes that killing them for their runes would have made Hansoo stronger right now. Hansoo realizes she's adjusting to this hellscape faster than anyone. But he's playing a different game. He didn't come back to the past just to be the strongest guy in a graveyard. He came back to save as many humans as possible. And rule number 1 for a functioning society? Don't murder people just because they're a walking loot box. He knows he needs contributors, not just runes. Plus, if people see him as a mindless murderer, he can't lead them later. He needs to be the powerful figure who sets the rules. He figures someone else will eventually stumble upon those thugs and do the dirty work anyway. Then, we cut to Songjin. The headphone kid looks like he's about to have a breakdown. He tells Hansoo he can't go any further. Hansoo just says, sure, do whatever you want. He's not a babysitter. He tells Songjin to do what he really wants to do. Mihi is confused. Hansoo asks her, aren't you scared of me? She freezes. She admits she is. But she also knows that as long as she doesn't cross the line, she's safe. She's betting her life on Hansoo's consistency. She decides to stick with him as far as she can. Hansoo just keeps walking. He thinks to himself that she really does have great intuition. They head toward the next zone. Back on the platform, Taesung is crawling through the dirt. He's already healing thanks to his troll essence, and he's still yapping about revenge. He's furious that Mihi abandoned him. Then he sees a pair of boots. It's Songjin. Taesung's eyes light up. He thinks his punching bag has come back to help him. He starts barking orders, telling Songjin to lift him up and join hands. He's trying to sell it as a chance for Songjin to get stronger. He points at the half-dead thug boss and tells Songjin to kill him. He literally throws a knife at Songjin's feet. Songjin picks up the knife. Taesung is grinning, calling him an idiot. He's already planning how to split the runes, but Songjin isn't walking toward the thug boss. He walks right up to Taesung and grabs him by the throat. Taesung is confused. What the hell are you doing? Songjin finally speaks. He tells Taesung it's his turn to know his place. He's tired of Taesung using his father's name to bullshit him. He calls Taesung a nobody on his own. Taesung tries to fight back. Songjin's grip tightens. He unloads. The sound of the knife hitting the floor. The spray of blood. Songjin is sobbing, but he doesn't stop. He tells himself not to get weak over something this little. He realizes that for a guy like Hansoo, this wouldn't even be a big deal. The thug boss sees this and starts begging for his life. Songjin looks at the boss and realizes why Hansoo didn't bother killing him, because he was too pathetic to even notice. Songjin remembers cowering behind Taesung. He realized that if he hadn't been weak, maybe he could have stayed by Hansoo's side. He's done cowering. He picks up the runes from Taesung's body. They glow in his hand. He remembers being bullied back in high school, walking on eggshells every single day. He vows to grow stronger, just like Hansoo. He walks away from the bodies, leaving his old self behind. He's officially entering the game. 2 days have passed. Mihi is standing in a ruined plaza. Suddenly, giant ravens dive-bomb her from the sky. She's panting, looking exhausted. One raven goes for her throat. It's a literal blur of feathers and teeth. A blue light splits the bird in half. Hansoo is back. Mihi sighs, saying she ended up needing his help again. Hansoo gives her a rare bit of advice. He tells her that not depending on someone isn't the same as doing everything alone. He hands her a share of the runes. He's being unusually generous, and Mihi is starting to get suspicious. She's been buying stamina and magic boost skills from him. She's trying her hardest to not be a burden. Hansoo checks his own menu. His stats are looking insane. Strength 54, dexterity 55. He's balancing his build perfectly. Then the sky crackles. AH, mic test. The fairy is back on the intercom, telling everyone to gather at the starting point. Hansoo and Mihi walk together. Mihi is fidgeting, clearly having something on her mind. Hansoo tells her to just say it. She blushes and asks, "Hansoo, do you have a girlfriend?" Hansoo stops dead. He thinks about Eris. In this world, she's just a person he hasn't met yet. He thinks about how his old comrade Kang Tae would have loved this question. He remembers Mihi being too scared to even talk to him a few days ago. He's glad she's regained her personality. But his answer is cold. "I don't remember." Mihi's face drops. She follows him into the crowd. There are about 60 survivors left. Hansoo sees a lot of familiar faces, people who will become legends, and people who will become corpses. The atmosphere is thick with dread. The fairy appears, flying over the crowd. She's mockingly sad that everyone gathered too quickly. She says she has good news. If they last for the next 72 hours, they can finally leave this station. She asks for applause. Complete silence. Nobody is falling for her good news act anymore. They start clapping slowly, just to keep her from getting bored. She snaps her fingers. The ground shakes. A massive structure rises from the pavement. It looks like a temple made of blood and stone. The magical altar. Hansoo's eyes narrow. He knows what this is. The fairy says there's a very cute pet inside. A giant eye opens behind the altar's gates. The carnivorous beast. She explains that they've starved it for a day, and it's dying to get out. She adds that the altar is actually weaker than it looks. It's going to break down, and the beast will be released. The survivors are terrified. They can't fight that thing. Then comes the second piece of news. There's a way to put the beast back to sleep. If it's asleep, it won't scratch the altar. The method is simple. 5 in a day. Just feed it 5 people a day. Mihi's heart stops. Since the event lasts 72 hours, that means 15 people have to die. A quarter of the people in the plaza will be used as sleeping pills. The fairy tells them the choice is theirs. She shows them a video of another tutorial zone. People tried to fight the beast together. They were torn apart in seconds. It was a massacre. The fairy smiles. Fighting that is ridiculous, isn't it? The crowd starts looking at each other. A guy in a beanie raises his hand. He asks the question everyone is thinking, how do we pick them? The fairy just laughs. She says whether they pick them by force or draw lots, it's up to them. Anything works as long as they're alive. She sets a timer for 1 hour. If they don't decide, the beast gets out. The plaza turns into a snake pit. Mihi asks Hansoo what he thinks is the right thing to do. Hansoo says the result is already decided anyway. The guy in the beanie shouts that they have to be fair. He suggests drawing lots. 5 people on the first day, 5 on the second. Hansoo walks into the center of the group. He smiles that cold, unsettling smile. He asks the most dangerous question possible. Why do we have to be fair? Hansoo just asked the crowd why they're obsessed with being fair. And let's be honest, he's got a point. Beanie Guy is stumbling over his words, trying to act like his lottery idea isn't just organized murder. Hansoo asks him if he actually has a plan beyond "let's all die together." He walks over to a metal pillar and literally snaps it in half like it's a pocky stick. He tells them the simple method: start with the people who aren't helping, throw in 5 of them, and call it a day. The room goes ice cold. Hansoo notices everyone is hanging on his every word. He smiles. He actually loves this. He explains the math. There were 100 people before them, and they need to catch up to the elites already ahead. If they want to survive the future, they need strength, not a support group. The altar is glowing red, reminding them that time is a luxury they don't have. Hansoo points right at the beanie guy and tells him they don't need weak hands. He suggests it's only obvious to throw the weak ones in first. The crowd looks like they're about to vomit. Hansoo realizes he's no longer playing the same game as Jin Taesung. He's not bullying for fun, he's streamlining the survival process. He remembers Eris telling him everyone deserves a fresh start. He thinks his suggestion is actually perfect. He reaches into his pocket and makes a move. He tells them they don't necessarily have to sacrifice anyone. The crowd perks up. They love hearing that they don't have to die today, but Hansoo's eyes say there's a catch. Beanie Guy asks if they're going to fight it together. Hansoo reminds them that numbers don't work on a beast that heals by eating you. He asks, "Who told you to fight?" Beanie Guy is dumbfounded. "Then what? You're fighting it alone?" Hansoo grins. "Yep, exactly that." The crowd starts murmuring. They think he's finally lost his mind. Even Maihi is looking at him like he's a different species. The balding guy pops up, yapping about how this isn't like fighting goblins. He screams that if they don't win in an hour, everyone is dead. The clock shows 49 minutes left. Hansoo stands there, the most composed person in a room full of panic. He looks at the crowd and thinks, did I get strong enough to fight that alone? Then he realizes, actually, he's a little short on stats. The crowd starts suggesting the elites all jump in together. Hansoo tells them to shut up because they keep interrupting his pitch. He lays it out. Maihi thinks he might take her along, then quickly realizes she'd just be a snack. Hansoo's plan is simple. He needs plus 30 in strength and stamina. He tells the crowd, give me your rune stats. If they power him up, he takes the risk and kills the monster solo. 60 runes, that's the price for their safety. If he gets them and uses his cloud snack cigarettes, he hits the magic numbers. He knows these figures from his past life. He's aiming for the second hidden piece. He remembers that only the Berserk monarch Clementine originally cleared this. Even the legendary heroes of his era couldn't manage it. Hansoo checks the clock. 41 minutes. He tells them to hurry up. The balding guy starts whining again, saying if they had those runes, they'd be stronger. He calls Hansoo a selfish. Hansoo just blinks. The audacity of this guy is actually impressive. The muscular woman steps up. She looms over the balding guy, looking like his worst nightmare. She mocks him for having so few runes he's scared to give them back. Balding guy starts stuttering about his rights. She tells him to shut up before she breaks his limbs and throws him in herself. The old man screams about respecting your elders. He actually asks, didn't you live in a democracy? The woman grins. Democracy? Great. Let's vote. She tells the crowd to vote anonymously. Either give up runes or offer yourself as a sacrifice. The anonymous part terrifies the weaklings. The old man tries to Hansoo, suggesting Hansoo just kill the strong guys for runes. Hansoo looks at him with pure disgust. He doesn't even use a weapon. He just punches the guy into the next zip code. The old man is on the ground, crying about his family. The timer is ticking down to 0. The panic is absolute. Hansoo sighs. He realized a long time ago that people never know when to back down. He announces that they need some conflict resolution. He tells everyone to quiet down. Here are the options. He points to the 5 most useless whining people in the group. You 5 are the first sacrifices. He's literally sorting them by their weakness value. The beanie guy is shaking. He can't believe he's actually being abandoned. Hansoo looks him dead in the eye. No mercy. No lottery. Just logic. Chapter 18. 29 minutes left on the clock. The altar is vibrating with hunger. Maihi is watching the chaos from the sidelines. She tells the beanie guy that if he was going to be this pathetic, he should have stayed with Taesung. She checks on Songjin, who is still processing his recent upgrade to murderer. She smiles at Songjin. She's starting to understand the Hansoo way. Hansoo looks slightly annoyed by the emotional moment. Maihi admits she wants to follow him forever, but she knows she can't just be a backpack. She asks what they're going to do now. She doesn't want to get scolded for being a waiter. Hansoo turns to the 15 people chosen for sacrifice. He tells them they have to bear the consequences of their own weakness. They didn't get left behind because they were unlucky. They got left behind because they didn't try. He asks if they were hoping for welfare support in a death game. He offers them a deal. He hands each of them 2 runes. He's basically giving them a starter kit for survival. The catch? They have to pay him back by hunting in the next 72 hours. If they survive, they owe him. If they die, he's out 30 runes. He tells them they can tag along, but they have to pull their weight. The crowd is stunned. Hansoo just went from executioner to lone shark. One of the survivors thanks him, but Hansoo is already moving on. He walks toward the altar gates alone. He thinks about Maihi. She's definitely gotten stronger. He can tell just by the way she stands now. But he needs more than better. He needs to prove his own worth to the system. Suddenly, a voice calls out, "Hey you!" It's the suit guy, Park Suyol, and his group. Hansoo looks back. What is it? Suyol puts a hand on the muscular woman's shoulder. He introduces himself with a fake corporate smile. He says he figured they should have a leader-to-leader chat. Hansoo flinches. Leader? In his head, he's just a solo player with a lot of baggage. Suyol starts acting like they're buddies, shaking his hand. He wants to talk about managing the other survivors. Hansoo just says, of course. Inside the altar, Hansoo preps his gear. Goblin poison is too weak for this thing. He pulls out the paralyzing poison. He checks his flying cat beads. He realizes his overall stat balance is a mess, but he has no choice. He walks up the steps of the temple. The beast is massive, a demonic wolf thing with horns and glowing red eyes. Hansoo reaches into his pocket. He lights up the maniac's cloud snack. He hasn't had this feeling in a long time. The stat boost hits his system like a freight train. Finally! Red energy explodes around him. A rune fitting for this world has been created. When stats surpass 100, they change color. Colorless, red, orange, yellow. Even a 0.01% colorless rune is infinitely stronger than a 99.9% normal rune. Hansoo's strength is now officially colorless. He moves. The impact shakes the entire altar. He realizes one thing after coming back to this damned world. The more impossible the task looks, the better the reward. He lunges at the wolf. Blade first. Outside, a purple portal opens. Park Suyol and his group are stepping through it. They aren't here to sacrifice themselves. Suyol smiles. Aren't you glad you didn't bring your friends along? He looks at the portal leading to the heart of the altar. Now let's move quickly and help Hansoo, shall we? Monstrous races, especially ones like this carnivorous beast, aren't just big and fast. They are born with race skills, broken abilities that make them the natural predators of this world. Hansoo knows the pattern. He's seen this movie before. Skill number 1 is the big one. Fear. It's not just a feeling. It's a debuff that literally freezes your nervous system. If you're an average survivor, the moment those red eyes lock onto you, your heart stops and your muscles turn to lead. But our guy isn't an average survivor. He's currently dodging a massive claw that would turn a car into scrap metal, and he's doing it with a cigarette in his mouth. The beast slams its fist down, shattering the floor tiles, but Hansoo is already in the air. Here is the loop. The beast paralyzes you with fear, then uses carnivory to eat you and refill its health bar. Standard RPG boss logic. Hansoo is just relieved it hasn't evolved yet, because if it connects its blood-sucking swamp move, it's basically game over. The beast hits the ground again, creating a shockwave that would break your ankles, but Hansoo is looking at the needle in his hand. He knows poking this thing's skin is like trying to stab a tank with a toothpick. He needs to be smarter. He baits another attack, slides under the massive forearm, and aims for the only place where defense doesn't matter. The meridian nerves, the joint faces. He's not looking for a kill, he's looking for a shutdown. The needle sinks in, and the beast lets out a roar that shakes the entire altar. Hansoo backs off, lighting his smoke. Let's wait until you can't move anymore, shall we? The timer is ticking. The poison on the needle starts doing its work, eating through the beast's internal mana flow. Then, the fear skill pulses again. A wave of red pressure washes over the arena. It hits Hansoo like a physical wall. Normal people would be screaming or wetting themselves right now. The beast leans in, 3 eyes glowing, waiting for the prey to stop moving. Hansoo stops. He looks up at the monster, and he realizes that compared to the actual gods he fought in the abyss, this thing is a joke. He mastered his senses across decades of war. He remembers an old comrade, Kang Tae, telling him combat is just prediction. Now, he sees it. Every twitch of the monster's muscle is a telegraph. It's not easy, but it is solvable. If he hadn't extorted those runes and boosted his stats, his body wouldn't be able to keep up with his brain. He glances up at the spiral staircase. Up there, Suyol and his group are watching the show. Suyol is grinning, thinking he's watching a lunatic exhaust himself. The group is actually starting to wonder if Hansoo needed those runes at all. Suyol tells them to stay quiet. They're going to sneak down and kill steal once the beast is at 1% health. Then, someone shouts. Hansoo flinches. It's Songjin, the headphone kid. He's leaning over the rail screaming, "Wait a little! We're coming to help!" Suyol looks like he's about to have a stroke. He told the kid to be quiet. Songjin just smiles, looking completely detached. "Ah, I didn't think about the monster hearing me." Suyol tries to play it off with a fake laugh, but he's sweating. He mumbles a curse. His perfect sneak attack just died a loud, painful death. Down below, Hansoo looks up at them, and he smiles. It's the kind of smile you see on a guy who just watched his opponent make a massive misplay. Suyol is trying to damage control. He tells his muscular enforcer not to worry. He thinks he can still wait for them to lower their guard and clean up both of them. But internally, he's terrified. He's been watching Hansoo fight for the last 10 minutes. He realizes Hansoo isn't a human. He's a tiger who is full. He's dangerous because he's playing with his food. Suyol flashes back to the first night. He remembers Hansoo tearing through a crowd of thugs without hesitating. He remembers the look on Hansoo's face. He was enjoying it. Suyol decides right then, Hansoo has to die. He's too wild to be a tool. He tells the group to move down and check things out. The beast's movements are getting dull. The poison is winning. Hansoo looks back at them. His smile gets wider. The muscular woman notices it first. That guy has gotten quiet for some reason. Suddenly the entire staircase groans. The stone cracks. The woman realizes the structural integrity of the stairs is gone. With a sound like a mountain breaking, the entire spiraling staircase collapses. Suyol and his entire squad tumble down into the pit, landing right in front of the monster. The carnivorous beast stops looking at Hansoo. It looks at the fresh meat that just delivered itself. The fear skill hits them from point-blank range. Suyol's group is paralyzed. They can't even lift their weapons. Suyol looks around frantically. Where did he go? Hansoo is standing on a high platform, looking down at them like he's watching a circus. Suyol screams at him to help. We can take it down together! Hansoo just tuts. I was going to, but you ruined the pattern. Now the monster is going to recover. Suyol is barely dodging the beast's tongue. Hansoo turns his back on them. He checks his poison supply. If you can kill it, give it a shot on your own. I'll try again later. He's literally leaving them to die. The muscular woman yells that he's forgetting his friends are down here. She gestures to Songjin, who is standing right next to Suyol. Then, a foot lands on the rail. Hansoo looks back with a grin that would make a demon uncomfortable. Suyol realizes. Hansoo didn't get caught. He broke the stairs on purpose. Go ahead and try to kill me, Hansoo says. I don't think you'll have time. The beast is salivating. It's not just hungry. It's excited. Suyol tries to bargain. He says they have to cooperate to survive. Hansoo just watches the beast roar. Didn't you guys voluntarily come in here to be sacrificed? Suyol freezes. What? Hansoo reminds them of the altar's rule. 5 people every day. The beast grabs one of the thugs. The sound of bones crunching fills the arena. Hansoo tips his non-existent hat. I pay tribute to your sacrificial spirit. He walks away. But someone is following him. Songjin catches up to him. Hansoo tells him to watch his words. The 2 survivors stand in the dark corridor. Songjin isn't scared anymore. He isn't angry. He's seen the truth of this world. Strength is the only language that doesn't lie. He looks Hansoo in the eye and says the 3 words Suyol never could. Use me, Hansoo. Hansoo stops. For the first time, he looks at the kid and sees a tool worth keeping. Use me, Hansoo. Our guy just stares at Songjin. He asks the obvious question. Why? Songjin isn't an idiot. He's been watching Hansoo this whole time. He noticed something during the fight with Taesung and those corporate thugs. Hansoo has overwhelming strength. He could have ended them in a second, but he didn't kill a single one. Even if keeping them alive made things harder for him later. Even with this altar mess, Hansoo did the heavy lifting instead of just forcing others to die. Songjin doesn't get it. He knows Hansoo isn't some saint. He knows Hansoo has a dark personality. There's a silence here that feels heavy. Songjin holds out his hands. I'll get my hands dirty in your place. Just let me follow you. Hansoo looks at him. He's not sure if he can trust a guy who just offered to be a professional hitman for him. Songjin swears he won't let anyone get in the way next time. He's practically begging for a job application at this point. He knows Hansoo stands out. He knows people will always try to leech or snake him. He wants to be the one who clears the trash so Hansoo can focus on the big picture. He just needs a goal, a reason to keep getting stronger. Hansoo finally speaks. What if you're forced to fall back? He gives Songjin a look that says, don't make promises you can't keep. Hansoo walks away. This is a signal. There's something in the second tutorial. Songjin smiles. He knows he's been given an audition. Hansoo tells him to go down. Songjin follows, still trying to get a straight yes. He's stepping over rubble, desperate to make up for his past mistakes. Hansoo stops him. Meet me here tomorrow at 1. Because by then, that monster won't be here. Songjin just blinks. The lunatic energy is hitting him full force. Hansoo tells him to take the runes from the people the beast just finished eating. Then he just leaves, like he's clocking out of a shift at a grocery store. Internally, Hansoo is weighing his options. He definitely needs a punisher. In the previous timeline, every monarch had one. Someone to remove the human obstacles that get in the way of saving the world. The people who act in your stead. The Punisher. It was an essential factor for every major legend. They do the killing so the monarch can stay a monarch. Hansoo was thinking of choosing someone named Anvi Aaron, but Songjin is here now. He'll give him a chance. He knows the second tutorial is going to scatter everyone anyway. Songjin might not even have the same mindset by the time they meet again. But for the cost of 8 cigarettes and a few runes, if he gets a useful tool out of it, that's a massive W. Now, for the real prize. Obtaining the hidden piece. Hansoo turns back to the beast. He launches. No more playing around. The condition for the second hidden piece is simple. He's pushing himself to the absolute limit. You have to take it down before it destroys the altar and escapes. The beast falls. Massive impact. Hansoo spits out some blood. He looks like he just finished a 12-hour gym session with no water. Then, it appears. A glowing portal on the floor. Hidden mission achieved. He reaches in. And his eyes go wide. Vampire King. Nurmaha's ring. He remembers the Berserk monarch having this. He always wondered where she got it. This is why nobody could get it in the past. The conditions were too insane for anyone but him. Artifacts in this world are ranked by color, but there are exceptions. Growth types that get stronger as you feed them runes. The absolute peak of loot is the numbering series. Solo numbering 9, Nirmaha's ring. This was the signature item of Clementine, the only owner in history before now. With this ring, Clementine literally tore people to pieces by just pointing at them. Hansoo can't help but smirk. He knew the altar wouldn't drop some trash. But a numbering artifact this early? Currently, it's at the colorless level. It has 8 authorities, but he can only unlock 1 right now. Destruction. It deactivates an opponent's traits and skills. The catch? You have to touch them directly, and it has a time limit. Even so, being able to turn off someone's superpowers whenever you want, that's a cheat code. He checks his stats. He needs more magic runes to balance things out. He walks out of the altar, back to the surface. Mihi is running toward him, looking like she just saw a ghost. She heard the news from Songjin. She can't believe he actually solo cleared that nightmare. Behind them, the altar timer hits 0. The entire massive structure just vanishes into thin air. Hansoo looks at her, calm as ever. Didn't I tell you? I'd take responsibility. Mihi's heart skips a beat. She brushes her hair back, looking conflicted. She realized she wasn't wrong to trust him, but that trust has a price. Hansoo tells her to go hunt. There's a gap before the next tutorial starts. He starts walking away. Hansoo! She drops the bomb. She wants to go separate ways. She's being honest with herself. She isn't qualified to stand next to him yet. Every time she's with him, she ends up relying on his strength instead of building her own. She's taking Songjin and a few others with her. Hansoo stops. He thinks for a second. That's a good decision. He doesn't even try to stop her. He's just like, cool, see ya. She stops him one last time. The next time we meet, I won't simply give up. She's declaring her own protagonist arc. Hansoo actually smiles. A real one. He respects the grind. Sure. Then he turns to Songjin. You asked me to use you, right? He gives Songjin a final look. The choice is up to him. A week later, the silence is broken. You waited a long time, right? The fairy is back, and she looks bored. She's surprised so many people survived the altar. Hansoo is just waiting for the next disaster to drop. She snaps her fingers. Let's change the stage first. The ground beneath them starts glowing. Survivors are panicking, holding on to each other as the world warps. Hansoo's eyes narrow. It has finally started. The teleport hits. They wake up in a white, sterile-looking room. It looks like an underground bunker. The fairy's voice echoes through the speakers. Before entering the second tutorial, let's adjust the head count. Everyone is looking around, confused. Then the screen turns red. Make it so there are no more than 7 people in one room. The rules are simple. 7 people per room. One problem, there are 8 of us. The fairy tells them to discuss it among yourselves, which is just code for start a murder hobo session. Hanchial, the tactical guy, is already sweating. He looks at the guy in the hoodie, our guy Hansoo, and notices that strange needle weapon. He recognizes the name. Hansoo is a legend in the making. Hanchial decides he's worth keeping. Suddenly, a woman with long black hair steps into the center. She says they can't ignore the elephant in the room. She suggests they all introduce themselves and appeal their value. Basically, it's a job interview where the loser gets fired from life. A blonde guy named Dachial steps up first. He pulls out a sword that starts glowing with heat. He's feeling himself. He calls everyone else dregs. Hansoo recognizes it immediately. It's a solid rune skill that coats weapons in magic to boost stats. In this room, Dachial thinks he's the main character because he has a shiny sword. Then we have Kangmin. He's a healer. He knows he's safe because everyone needs a white mage. Hanchol steps up next, claiming he's the muscle. The Solarimon dad starts panicking. He begs them to make an exception for his family. The atmosphere gets toxic fast. Everyone is looking at the family like they're extra weight. The dark-haired woman, Jimin, interrupts. She says she hasn't introduced herself yet. She gives a creepy little smile and says her name is Jimin. As for my ability, I'll show you right now. She starts walking toward Dachial. He gets defensive, telling her to back off. He thinks he's going to teach her a lesson for coming at him recklessly. One flash. One cut. Dachial doesn't even get to finish his sentence. The rest of the room freezes. She just one-shotted the guy with the super strong chi art. She picks up a red rune that dropped. I'm so lucky, she purrs. She tells everyone else they can share the rest of the loot. Hanchiol is internally screaming. He just realized he's in a room with a total lunatic. Hansoo just stands there with his arms crossed. He's actually pleased. Jimin just did the head count adjustment for him. Plus, he knows that in the original timeline, these people died. The future is already changing. This is getting interesting. The fairy reappears, delighted that there are only 7 left. She opens the gate to the. Your task? Simple. Climb for 3 months and reach the dormant volcano in the center. Pass this, and the world fully opens up. She waves goodbye and teleports out. They find themselves on a series of floating islands connected by rickety bridges. Hanchal tries to start a let's all get along speech. Hansoo just ignores him and starts sprinting ahead. Hancheol yells at him to wait. Then, he hears the wood snapping. The bridge is collapsing. Everyone starts booking it. They barely make it to the next island, huffing for air. The fairy's voice echoes, "Oh yeah, she forgot to mention the islands start falling too." Jimin looks annoyed. "You should have told us that first." Hansoo is already walking away. He doesn't care about their group huddle. Hancheol calls him an antisocial bastard. Jimin suggests they follow him. He looks like he knows exactly where he's going. The group trails behind him through a dense jungle island. Hours pass. No bridges, no monsters, just trees. Hancheol is getting suspicious. He thinks Hansoo is lost. Then, he looks closer at what Hansoo is doing. Hansoo is chewing on something. It's oak tree bark. It acts as a natural poison antidote. Hancheol asks why he's eating an antidote. A massive shadow looms over them. A giant green snake drops from the canopy. Hansoo just narrows his eyes. Found it. The snake lunges, jaws wide. Hancheol barely dodges. He's stunned. How did Hansoo know it was coming? Hansoo deadpans, superpowers. Hancheol's face says it all. He knows he's being trolled. The snake's tail whip shatters a tree right next to Hancheol's head. It's fast. Too fast. It's a runic snake. Its pattern changes randomly depending on the glowing symbols on its head. Hancheol is struggling. He realizes they can't heal mid-fight if they're being pressured like this. He screams at the family to come to the front and fight. The dad refuses. He says he has to protect his family and can't risk it. Hancheol is losing his mind. "So what? We're all trying not to die." He turns to Kangmin, the healer. "What's your deal? You don't have a family." Kangmin just adjusts his glasses and smirks. "How do you plan on healing without me?" He's a capitalist. He wants 3 strength runes per heal. Or 1 mana rune. Hancheol is officially in the party from hell. Jimin just watches from the sidelines, asking if he's just going to let them act like that. Hancheol feels completely alone. He's the only one actually playing the objective. He realizes he drew a shitty hand of teammates. Suddenly, his comms crackle. A voice asks how the new place is. It's his captain. Apparently, there's a rescuer upstairs. The captain tells him to find new recruits and push forward. Hancheol looks at his group. The superpowers troll, the crazy girl with the sword, the cunning rascal of a doctor, and the useless family. Survival comes before anything else, he sighs. He decides to keep them for now. Hansoo isn't listening to their drama. He's looking at Hancheol's glowing glove. That's a monarch trait. It's the ability to lead a group and share a clan symbol. It creates a mental bond in private comms. Hansoo knows the monarchs are already busy scouting talent. If he wants to compete with them, he needs to get busy too. But first, he needs the strength to make them listen. The runic snake is still a threat. The group notices the monster density is dropping. Hansoo stops. They're at the nest of the mutant runic snake. A massive, white-scaled snake with a smiley face rune on its head appears. This is the Rune Eater snake. Hancheol yells for them to wait. The dad suggests they just leave. Maybe it won't attack if we stay away. Hansoo tells them they can go if they want. He'll fight it alone. Hancheol tries to argue they should move together. Hansoo looks him dead in the eye. "I'm not moving together with you people. It's about time we parted ways." The group is stunned. Jimin smiles, asking Hancheol if he's going to stay back too. The Salaryman dad looks like he's about to cry. Hancheol watches Hansoo walk toward the monster. He wants to help, but he can't risk his own life for a guy who won't cooperate. Kangmin tells him to give up. He never received healing once. He acts like the battlefield is his living room. He predicts Hansoo won't live long because he's too hard to manage. The snake lunges. It attacks Hansoo even though his magic runes are active. Hansoo dodges a tail swipe. He's looking for the pattern. It's stronger than the previous snake, but it's nowhere near the carnivorous beast level. A long battle would be a hassle. The trick? Focus on the nest of trees in the center. The snake will ignore its own defense to protect it. Hansoo baits the strike, then dives for the base of the trees. The snake screeches in panic. Hansoo strikes. The forest goes quiet. That was quicker than I thought. Hansoo is standing over his prize. A glowing blue-veined egg. The Rune Eater snake's egg. The egg Hansoo just snagged? It's already cracking. Most people would be worried about what's coming out, but our guy just found the most broken utility pet in the game. Meet the juvenile Rune Eater snake. It looks cute, but its trait is a literal cheat code. It eats 3 random runes and spits out 2 that the owner actually wants. A 3-for-2 trade sounds like a loss to a math teacher, but in the abyss, quality beats quantity every single time. Hansoo starts feeding it immediately, focusing on magic and physical resistance. He's basically building a tank build while everyone else is still stuck in the tutorial. Meanwhile, back in the useless escort mission, the family is having a rough time. The dad is staring at a map that tells him exactly nothing. They hear something in the bushes. The dad tries to look brave, but his knees are doing most of the talking. It's Hansoo. He walks out like he just finished a light jog. The dad assumes Hansoo ran away from the snake. Hansoo just says, "I caught it," and keeps moving. The dad asks where the others are. Yeah, about them. Hansoo, Kangmin, and Jimin basically told the family to get lost the moment Hansoo left. They didn't want to carry the extra weight. Hansoo even accused them of just looking for a comfy ride. The healer, Kangmin, was the worst, calling them irritating people in the way. They literally blocked the path and went another direction. It was cold, it was mean, and it was 100% efficient. The dad is still grumbling about it when he notices Hansoo isn't stopping to chat. The family decides to follow him. They don't have a choice. Hansoo doesn't look back. The dad asks what he's trying to do. Hansoo repeats his favorite line, "I was never with you guys." He tells them to do whatever they want. A monster lunges. Hansoo deletes it in one move. He feeds the rune to the snake. It's a rhythmic process now. Kill, eat, refine. His resistances are skyrocketing. Look at those stats. He's already a boss-level threat. He looks at the rest of the monster and thinks about food. Practical king. The daughter, Chae-eun, is watching him with stars in her eyes. She thinks he's incredible. The dad tells her not to intervene. Being together as a family is a blessing, he says. That blessing is about to expire. They sprint after Hansoo. They follow him to the edge of a dark tunnel. Hansoo enters without hesitation. The family follows, trembling. They emerge on the other side. And they aren't alone. The rest of the survivors are already there. The family celebrates. They made it. Hancheol and Kangmin look disgusted to see them. They're more surprised that Hansoo is still alive and looking fresh. The fairy pops up, annoyed that they're late. She snaps her fingers and closes the door. No more late entries. Now, let's start the event in full scale. There are 75 people left. The event? A battle for tickets. You need these to leave this collapsing island and move to the next one. But here is where the game theory kicks in. Each boat holds 3 people. You need 3 tickets to launch. If 3 people use 1 ticket each, they get scattered to random islands. Total gamble. If 2 people use 3 tickets, they stay together but don't know where they're going. But if one person uses all 3 tickets, they choose the destination. Hansoo's eyes narrow. He knows exactly where he's going, the central island. The islands are falling from the outskirts in. The closer to the center, the safer you are. They have 30 minutes. 25 boats. 75 people. The fairy gives the signal, survive by any means necessary, because it's more fun that way. Chaos. Instantly. People are stabbing each other over pieces of paper. Hansoo watches the inevitable chaos unfold. Then, he hears his name. The Salaryman dad falls to his knees. "Help our family!" The dad is begging now. He wants Hansoo to get them more tickets so they can reach the central island. "You're strong! You can just snatch them from others, right?" He's literally asking Hansoo to go murder people so his family can have a safe ride. "You'd be saving innocent lives." Hansoo looks down at him with zero heat in his eyes. "In the end, you have to take responsibility for yourself." A boot enters the frame. Hancheol kicks the dad right in the face. He tells him to shut up and turns to Hansoo. Hancheol has a proposal. "Come with us. I'll even provide the tickets." He admits he hates his own team. He wants someone on his level. He holds up his glove, showing the glowing monarch mark. It's a special power. If the leader approves, you get the mark too. He thinks he's offering Hansoo a seat at the VIP table. Hansoo shakes his head. "No, I refuse." Hancheol's brain stops working for a second. What? He tries to explain how valuable a clan is. Hansoo looks at the sky. He knows exactly how valuable a clan is. He remembers the bonds from his past life. But he also knows that this time, those bonds are just a distraction from his goal. Hancheol realizes he can't buy him. He pulls out a ticket and throws it on the ground like trash. The dad realizes that's his ticket Hancheol just stole. Hancheol smirks. He's heading for the central island to meet the others. "I'm sure we'll meet again." Hansoo watches him walk away. He thinks it's a useless stunt. There's a ticket on the ground. A group of thugs is already closing in. "Grab it!" The fight for the scrap of paper is brutal. The dad tries to get his ticket back. The thug pulls a knife. Chae-eun screams as the thug offers them a wholesome death together. The family is gone. Hansoo watches the fairy giggling in the air. He realizes the family was paired with them from the start just to create this specific spectacle. Jimin walks up, asking why he rejected Hancheol. Personal reason. She makes her own proposal. She shows her own mark. "Come with me." Hansoo ignores her too. She laughs it off. But she has one question before she leaves. "You're not still here out of some clumsy sense of sympathy, are you?" She looks into his eyes, looking for a crack. Hansoo just smirks. "Sympathy, you say?" She leaves on her boat. Now there's only one boat left, and a group of survivors who can't even stand up. They beg him. "Hansoo, you know me. Save us." Hansoo looks at the fairy. In his heart, he knows these are all people he should have saved, but he also knows that if he fails his ultimate goal, every save is pointless. He grips the needle. He remembers the sea of poison from the previous timeline. He remembers watching them melt while the fairy laughed. He decides, "You can resent me all you want." He isn't going to let them be exploited until they die. He calls it mercy in his own way. He turns his back on the carnage. The fairy is impressed. As expected of a rising star, she promises not to babble about what happened here. Hansoo looks at the horizon. No regrets. He didn't come back to save everyone. He came to win. He boards the boat. Next stop, the central island. Welcome to the land of opportunity. Only 1,921 travelers left in the world. Welcome to Central Island. The rules here are simple. Defend the big shiny crystal in the middle, farm the underground dungeon to get jacked, and try not to die when the skeletons show up. Problem is, the not dying part isn't going great. The monster waves are hitting like a truck, and the front line is currently held together by thoughts and prayers. The leaders are screaming about holding the line, but the line is currently a meat grinder. Inside the war room, things are even worse. We've got the clan alliance. The guys who think they're in charge because they have matching uniforms. First up is Park Jung-wook, standard military guy, thinks force solves everything. Then there's An Ju-hyun. He looks like he's one bad day away from a mental breakdown. Hong Xia is the one actually paying attention. She's the Noah clan monarch. And Lee Guk-tae? He's the guy who thinks having red hair makes him the main character. Their current plan is to draft the unaffiliated travelers by force. Xia points out the obvious. How do you control people who don't want to be there? Jung-wook doesn't care. He's ready to start a civil war while the skeletons are at the door. The argument is basically a circle. We need more people. The people are in the dungeon. Kill them if they don't help. They're terrified of the Basement Alliance, a group of players who decided that defending the castle is for losers and farming loot is for kings. The monarchs are literally debating who has to go down there and get their hands dirty first. It's pathetic. Even Shia is starting to get a headache watching this. She's wishing someone, literally anyone, would just take charge. See, at the start, everyone helped. But then people got strong, found shiny toys, and decided they were too good for team play. Classic MMO behavior. Why help the raid when you can solo the side quest? Suddenly, Jimin bursts in like she owns the place. She's got news. Someone is currently outside turning the Basement Alliance into a pile of regrets. The monarchs rush to the balcony and yeah, it's a mess. The tough guys who were refusing to fight are currently begging for their lives. Our guy Hansoo is back. And he's not using words. He's treating these travelers like the tutorial mobs they are. One guy is having a crisis because his stats are higher than Hansoo's, yet he can't even see the blade coming. Hansoo doesn't even have his main weapon out. He's just bored. A big guy tries to step up. Who are you to order us around? He lunges with a glowing knife. Bad move. Hansoo looks at the blade like he's checking the price tag on a discount steak. The impact should have ended him. Instead, the skill just vanishes. The blade won't even scratch his skin. Hansoo's turn. It's exhausting trying not to kill you guys. The guy hits the floor like a sack of bricks. Hansoo calls them valuable resources. He's not being nice. You don't throw away a hammer just because it's blunt. You fix it. He lights up a stat boost cigarette. The last one. The monarchs are watching from above, absolutely stunned. They're asking the same question everyone asks before Hansoo ruins their life. Who is this guy? Xia remembers the name. Hancheol warned her about a monster. Hansoo doesn't wait for an invite. He walks into the war room and gives them the new schedule. Basement Alliance and Clan Alliance are merging. Rotate hunting and defense. No exceptions. Xia is confused. This plan benefits the clans, not Hansoo. She's looking for the catch. Guk-tae, the red-haired monarch, finally finds his ego. He asks Hansoo what his ulterior motive is. He can't wrap his head around someone being this strong without wanting to be king. Hansoo's answer is peak regressor energy. As long as the system works, I don't care about you. Guk-tae doesn't like being called irrelevant. He goes for his sword. Hansoo flickers. He's using a movement skill that makes him look like a ghost. The room panics. He's attacking. Guk-tae thinks it's a simple invisibility trick. He's confident. Then he feels cold steel against his neck. Hansoo is right behind him. He didn't just move. He disrupted Guk-tae's entire perception of reality. Gotta keep up with the trends, Hansoo says, looking like he just finished a light jog. He backs off. He's made his point. They aren't allies. They're employees. Do your jobs. That's all I want. He walks out. He's thinking about the future. This is just the warm-up. Jimin follows him, obviously loving the drama. She wants another answer to the question she asked him before. Will he finally join her, or is he still stuck on his old teammate Maihee? Hansoo doesn't even look back. Jimin catches up, trying the "don't you feel lonely" angle. She's leaning in, giving him the genuine invitation speech. She even drops Maihee's name just to see if his pulse changes. Zero reaction. The man is a stone wall. Jimin takes it as a maybe because she's delusional. Hansoo just keeps walking. He has actual work to do on the walls. Annoying rascal, she mutters. She's definitely going to try again in 5 minutes. Out on the walls, the vibe has shifted. The defense is actually holding. No shortages, no chaos. The skeletons are getting dismantled systematically. The basement guys are working twice as hard because they're terrified of the guy who beat them up earlier. Fear is a great motivator when you're short on honor. The leaders are watching Hansoo clear entire sections by himself. He's like a one-man army, and he isn't even breaking a sweat. Jung-wook is actually annoyed. If only he had manners, I'd recruit him. Buddy, he's not looking for a job, he's looking for a win condition. Everything seems stable, which, in this series, means something terrible is about to happen. The sky literally rips open. Enter the fairy, everyone's favorite chaotic purple demon. The soldiers' faces say it all. The fairy showing up is like seeing a system update bar when you're 99% done with a level. New content drop, she says. Demons are joining the defense battles. Demons are elite mobs, but they drop mini crystals. And crystals are the currency for the VIP shop. Hansoo's eyes sharpen. He knows this shop. It's not just for gear. The menu pops up. Shields, potions, flags, and the escape ticket. 600 crystals to get the hell out of this death game. The crowd goes wild. Suddenly, this isn't a defense mission anymore. It's a gold rush. The rift explodes, and something huge starts climbing out. It's a demon. Massive, clawed, and looking like it eats nightmares for breakfast. It lets out a roar that shakes the stone under their feet. The sound is enough to make the average player want to go home. It charges. The soldiers who were just talking about crystals are now realizing they are the ones who might become loot. Everyone hesitates. Someone else go first. Typical side character behavior. Hansoo sighs. Everyone, step back. He launches himself off the wall. He's a blur in the air. The demon swipes. Hansoo parries mid-air. Steel sparks against demonic hide. The demon is fast, but Hansoo is reading the frame data. Even a degraded version of a demon is a problem. Hansoo realizes his base attack isn't cutting it. He's out of snacks. He needs to stop playing around and use his gear. He activates the rogue's light stepping boots. 1 minute of pure speed. He's not running anymore. He's teleporting. The demon can't even track his shadow. A flurry of strikes. Hansoo is hitting meridian points, testing the defense. He's dancing around the claws, looking for the opening. He finds it. But he needs a finisher. The demon lunges for a final bite. Hansoo doesn't dodge. The impact creates a shockwave that clears the dust. The ground craters. Everyone thinks he's cooked. Then the blue light flares. Nirmaha's ring, authority of destruction. He neutralizes the demon's racial skill on contact. Jungwook is watching from the wall, realizing the gap between them is a canyon. He tells Hanchial to get ready. He's planning to assist, which is just code for stealing the kill. It's just one demon! Everyone charge! The crowd sees the boss is at low HP and they lose their minds. Jimin asks Xia if they should join the party. Xia says no. She's watching Hansoo's face. He's not struggling. He's waiting. Hansoo hears the idiots charging behind him. He looks back, and his expression is pure. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. He's disgusted. They're going to get in the way of the real fight. The demon isn't dead. It hasn't even used its race skill yet. The demon's eyes glow. The air gets heavy. Hansoo realizes the game update just got a lot more interesting, and if these guys keep running forward, none of them are making it to the shop. Demons are unpredictable. Their race skills are basically a random number generator for how you're going to die. Our guy Hansoo sees the demon charging up an AoE and realizes everyone behind him is about to get deleted. The side characters are currently having a midlife crisis. Some want to run, some want to stay and steal the reward. The demon doesn't care about their feelings. It finishes the cast. Inferno Hell. It's exactly as pleasant as the name suggests. One guy tries to block it with a new artifact. Spoiler alert, it does not work. He's thinking about the reward right up until the point he becomes a human torch. The front line turns into a literal barbecue. Turns out, bringing a wooden shield to a hellfire fight is a major skill issue. Hansoo steps forward. He's done watching the NPCs struggle. Hellfire. He decides it's time to stop holding back and let the ring do the heavy lifting. Destruction. He literally cuts the fire. Not the demon, the actual concept of the flames. The fire just stops existing. The ground is scorched, but the threat is gone. The demon is confused, the players are confused, but Hansoo is just getting started. The demon tries to ramp up for a triple chain attack, thinking it still has a chance. Hansoo gives it that look, the "you're already loot" look. He closes the gap and delivers a reality check straight to the demon's face. Guktai is watching from the sidelines, sweating. He's wondering if Hansoo is even human at this point. The gap between rank 1 and everyone else isn't a gap, it's a galaxy. Jungwook and Hanchial realize their monarch titles are basically participation trophies. Xia is the only one smart enough to be genuinely terrified. She knows that if they don't find a way to control this man, they're all just living on his terms. Shift to the aftermath. The wave is over, and the cleanup crew is moving in. Jimin is lurking in the shadows again, watching Hansoo work. Hanchial approaches her. He's trying to be diplomatic. Jimin is not interested in his LinkedIn pitch. He tells her that waiting for Hansoo is a waste of time. Jimin gives him the "who else is there" shrug. Hanchial tries to play the "we're all following orders" card, but Jimin isn't an employee. She's a fan. He warns her that the clan alliance is getting shaky. He's basically fishing for intel, but Jimin's eyes suggest she's thinking about where to hide his body. Suddenly, she senses something. Someone is watching them. The paranoia on this island is at an all-time high. Up in the tower, Guktai is mauling. He's realized Hansoo is monopolizing the demons and the crystals they drop. He's had spies on Hansoo 24/7, but Hansoo doesn't do anything suspicious. He just fights, hunts and goes to the dungeon. no sleep, no breaks. This creates a problem. The unaffiliated players are starting to treat Hansoo like a god, and if they follow Hansoo, they stop following the clans. Guktai smiles that "I have a plan" smile that always leads to a 20-minute exposition dump. He's prepared something to re-establish authority. He walks into the meeting hall where the minor clan leaders are gathered. He's got that middle manager about to announce layoffs energy. "Let's discuss the future," he says, which translates to "let's figure out how to kill Hansoo." Meanwhile, Hansoo is actually being productive. He's standing over the corpse of a massive beast. His old weapon is trashed, worthless. But it doesn't matter, he just hit the magic number. 60 crystals. He opens the crystal shop. He knows the clans are going to fight over the exclusive items, so he's speedrunning the shop before they can even log in. He's looking for one specific thing. Exchange successful. He pulls out a weapon that looks like it belongs in a Bloodborne DLC. A chain scythe. He says he can wield anything, but he likes what's familiar. Kratos' judgment. He gives it a test swing, and the smile on his face says it all. Battles are about to get much easier for him. And much harder for everyone else. He starts clearing mobs like he's playing Dynasty Warriors on easy mode. 10 days left in the defense battle. Guktai is watching, holding a glowing mark on his arm. He's waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The timer is ticking. 10 days later. The fairy is back, and she looks like she's about to drop a toxic update. "Since you've all survived so long, we've prepared an event." That is never a good sentence. The ground starts shaking. The corpses of the demons they've been killing for 2 weeks start moving. They aren't just rising as zombies, they're being absorbed into the fortress. A massive ball of necrotic energy is forming in the center. Hansoo looks up. It's starting. The energy coalesces, weaving together bones and shadows. The hidden quest of Central Island is revealed. The Demon King's subjugation battle. And the Demon King is... well, she's got the final boss aesthetic down. She lets out a laugh that makes everyone's HP bars quiver. The fairy drops the patch notes. A red barrier slams down around the fortress. "You have 2 choices, the fairy says, sounding way too happy about it. Choice 1, stay outside and fight the upgraded undead waves. These aren't your average skeletons, these are the developer's favorite versions. Choice 2, go inside and fight the Demon King. The monarchs are panicking. This wasn't in the manual. The fairy admits she didn't want to bring out the Demon King because everyone usually dies first. But here's the kicker. The escape crystal activates in 30 minutes. But it can only transport 500 people. There are 1,000 survivors. You do the math. The only way for everyone to leave is to kill the Demon King. Unjuzhan is already sweating through his cape. He claps his hands to get attention. His plan is to just hold out for 30 minutes and use the crystal. Someone calls him out immediately. "You just want your own clan to escape?" The mask is slipping. The alliance is turning into a May 1st. Juzhan tries to play it off as saving the majority. Typical clan monarch idea, someone mocks. Guktai steps in. He asks if anyone actually has a better plan. He points at the Demon King. "How are we supposed to kill that when one normal demon almost wiped us?" He's using fear to herd the sheep toward the crystal. The atmosphere shifts. People are looking at their friends, realizing they might have to fight them for a spot on the bus. The minor leaders start sucking up to the Smog clan, hoping for a ticket. Then, a voice cuts through the noise. "The only way for everyone to escape is hunting the Demon King." Hansoo steps out. Guktai looks like he just swallowed a lemon. "That guy is interfering again." Guktai asks if Hansoo is really that confident he can survive. Hansoo gives him a chibi deadpan stare. Who knows? But he points out the obvious. If they head for the crystal, a bloodbath is guaranteed. Jimin steps up next to him. "In that case, we'll follow you." She's smiling. She knows where the W is. The unaffiliated players start cheering. "Let's hunt the Demon King." Even Xia and Jungwook pivot. They join Hansoo's side. Juzhan is shaking. He whispers to Guktai that they have to stop Hansoo, even by force. He thinks if they can just break the morale of Hansoo's group, they can ambush him during the chaos. Hansoo looks back at them. "Don't think about fighting just yet, yeah?" He throws his scythe. The chain rattles. It's not heading for the monarchs. Juyun flinches, thinking his head is about to be separated from his body. Hansoo tells them to wait for the right timing. Guktai clenches his teeth. He agrees to follow the plan. For now. "So, looks like everyone has decided," Xia says. Hansoo walks toward the big, glowing escape crystal. "Let's wrap things up, shall we?" He swings the scythe with everything he's got. The chain wraps around the crystal, and the purple energy of his weapon bites deep into the stone. The crystal shatters. The escape route is gone. Juzhan and Guktai look like their souls just left their bodies. "What the hell have you done?" they scream. Hansoo just smirks. Leaving an escape route will only weaken everyone. It's the ultimate toxic leadership move. He just burnt the boats. And it works. The players realize there is no exit. It's kill or be killed. "Don't follow me," Hansoo says, walking toward the Demon King's lair. "Look ahead for your own sake." The timer hits 0. It's raid night, boys. Let's see who survives the wipe. Welcome to the Demon King's fortress. The lobby has been completely redecorated in early Gothic nightmare, and the vibe is officially raid wipe imminent. Hansoo leads the group into the dark, and you can practically hear the side characters' knees knocking. The Demon King is already waiting, basically telling them they're not trapped in here with her, they're just staying for dinner. The doors slam shut. The fortress is sealed. No refunds, no exits. And then the floor decides to opt out. Standard dungeon trap #1. The floor is lava, or in this case, a pit full of zombies. Suddenly, things start climbing up the walls. These aren't your friendly neighborhood skeletons. They're fast, hungry, and currently trying to bite the faces off the monarchs. Hansoo is already bored. Stop panicking. These guys are basically tutorial trash. He stands there looking like he's waiting for a bus while everyone else is fighting for their lives. But even he knows the trash mobs are just the appetizer. The real problem is the light show happening at the end of the hall. To get to the boss, they have to go through the fire pillars. Enter the Demon Gatekeeper. This guy is a massive wall of armor and bad attitude. And because one isn't enough, another one spawns in just to double the misery. The air is thick with purple fire, and the front line is getting deleted. Hansoo watches them struggle for about 5 seconds before deciding he's seen enough. He starts barking orders like a pro gamer carrying a lobby of bronze players. Guktai is trying to argue, but honestly, who are you going to listen to? The guy with the plan, or the guy who's currently sweating? Hansoo moves. He recognizes these guys. They're modeled after the gatekeepers from the future abyss, which means he's already seen their moveset. It's like fighting a boss you've already died to 50 times. You know exactly where the hitboxes are. He launches the chain scythe, and the steel meets demonic armor with a shockwave that clears the room. Time to see what the 60 crystal investment actually does. He wraps the chains around the gatekeeper's sword. The chain pulls tight, and the gatekeeper starts losing its mana. It's a stat check, and Hansoo is winning. It burns through his magic, but he's got plenty to spare. He looks back at the monarchs. Are you just going to stand there and watch? The embarrassment finally hits them. Jungwook realizes that if they don't help now, they'll never live it down. He rallies his clan. For honor, don't let the solo guy outshine us. Shia and the others join in, and for the first time, they actually look like an army. They charge, unloading every ranged skill and artifact they have on the second gatekeeper. But the demons aren't done. They start charging up hellfire. A massive beam of energy rips through the room, turning honor into medical bills. Hansoo's chain rattles. He's not dodging. He's diving in. Don't stop attacking, he yells. He knows the secret. The fire isn't coming from the demon's hands. It's coming from a core. He leaps into the center of the explosion. Jimin is screaming his name, thinking he's finally lost it. Hansoo just keeps pushing through the heat. The flames should have melted him, but he reaches deep into the gatekeeper's chest cavity. It's disgusting. It's painful, and it's exactly where the ignition stone is hidden. He rips the purple crystal out with his bare hands, crushes it. Done. The fire pillars vanish instantly. Didn't I tell you? Just keep fighting. The smile on his face is pure menace. He just took a flamethrower to the chest and asked for seconds. But wait, something is wrong. Hansoo senses a shift in the room. Guktai is watching the non-clan members get slaughtered by the other gatekeeper, and he isn't moving to help. People are begging for assistance, but the alliance is just standing there. They're letting the weaklings die so they don't have to share the reward later. Guktai's eyes are cold. He's decided that a smaller herd is easier to manage. Guktai starts the gaslighting immediately. Hansoo, this is all your fault! You pushed these people to die! Ah, the classic blame the guy actually doing the work strat. Jungwook is still fighting, looking back in confusion. Hansoo doesn't even argue, he just keeps swinging his scythe. He knows that in this world, words are for people who can't win a stat check. Guktai claps his hands. I'll show you the difference between us. He gestures to the shadows, and a group of hooded players steps forward. His secret special forces. They're well-equipped, synchronized, and they start cleaning up the smaller mobs with ruthless efficiency. They're using shields and bows in a perfect formation. It's impressive if you're into the whole corporate synergy vibe. The other players are actually relieved. Finally, someone who isn't a psychopath is helping. Hansoo looks at them and just shrugs. Fine, you guys handle the trash. He puts his scythe away and starts stretching. I'll handle the big one. He kicks off the wall, unfurls the chains mid-air, and the scythe blade becomes a spinning disc of death. He's not just fighting, he's performing. The gatekeeper can't even find a gap in his rhythm. Guktai is watching, his ego taking massive damage. He realized that even with his secret unit, Hansoo is still the one setting the pace. But Guktai has a backup plan. He's always got a backup plan. Hansoo finishes off the gatekeeper with a brutal overhead swing. The chain wraps around its throat, and he yanks. Hard. The armored head hits the floor, and the room goes quiet. Jimin walks up, looking like she just finished a morning jog. The gatekeeper's corpse starts to disintegrate. No loot drop? That's annoying. Hansoo just looks toward the throne room. He's already moving on to the next problem. Guktai is still mauling in the background, realizing that his special forces debut was overshadowed by a guy with a chain. Shift to the regroup. Everyone is exhausted, bloody, and depressed. One of the lackeys hands Guktai a crystal shard. He starts talking about nurturing the unit and how the Smog clan gets priority. He's already playing politician while the boss is 10 feet away. Jungwook and Shia are whispering. They've noticed Guktai's little army. Paranoia is the only thing growing faster than their stat bars. Hansoo is standing off to the side, checking his own system window. Xia approaches him. The Alliance is trying to mess with you. Hansoo gives her the I know look. I've already made preparations, he says with a smirk that should make everyone in the room nervous. He's not worried about a coup. He's worried about the clock. Jimin points out that even if they help the Alliance will just backstab them. If they want to live, they'll have to fight, Jungwook says, trying to sound authoritative. Then, someone new walks up. In a room full of dying people, this girl looks like she just walked off a movie set. Stop whining, she says to the injured players. She walks past the groaning bodies like they're just furniture. She heads straight for Hansoo. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Seong Yeon. She's got that I know a secret smile. Even Jimin looks annoyed. Hansoo doesn't bite. What are you trying to do? She calls him heartless and tells him she just wanted to introduce him to someone. She's being incredibly vague, which is basically the universal sign for I'm a major plot point. She whispers that someone is interested in him. Hansoo tells her to get lost. He isn't here for dating sims or recruitment pitches. Yeon doesn't seem offended. She just watches him walk away. The monarchs are watching this interaction, baffled. They tried to talk to her before and she ignored them completely. Hansoo ignores her and keeps walking. They reach the final barrier, a massive, glowing purple wall. And then, the laugh. The fairy pops up again. Travelers are so fun! She's got good news. You don't actually have to kill the Demon King to open the portal. You just have to survive for 30 minutes. She says it like it's a gift, but her face says, I've rigged the game. Hansoo sees right through it. How obvious. The barrier drops. The throne room is massive, dark, and filled with thousands of glowing eyes. The Demon King is sitting on her throne. She raises a hand and says one word. Arise. The corpses they left behind start shaking. Every demon they've killed for the last 2 weeks is coming back at the same time. The 30-minute timer just started, and it's going to be the longest half hour of their lives. The Demon King is looking down at our guy like he's a snack that's talking back. Hansoo isn't bothered. He's already analyzed her moveset and realized she's at less than 50% power. But even a downgraded boss is still a boss. Time for a shopping spree. He cashes in those mini crystals he's been farming. He buys the matching set for his chain sickle, De Kratos Justice, dual-wielding chain sickles. It's official. He's gone full Kratos mode. He starts carving through the summoned mobs like they're made of wet paper. He's testing out the new skills and flying everywhere. Swipe left, hook right, and a dozen skeletons get sent back to the lobby. The Demon King finally stops laughing. She's realizing this isn't a tutorial, it's a boss fight for her. Pathetic, she says, sending out her own chains of shadow. The impact is massive. Steel meets shadow energy, and the shockwave cracks the floor. She's faster than she looks, and she's trying to pin him down. She summons a necrotic wolf beast to flank him. Hansoo just uses the chain to swing himself out of the way. The wolf bites air. Skill issue. Xia and Jungwook are struggling with the mob density. There are just too many of them. Jungwook is screaming for the special forces to help, but Guktae and his hooded squad are just standing there, watching. Jimin realizes the vibe is off. I knew those bastards would do this! Hansoo glances back. He's not surprised. He tells them to hold the boss while he handles the interference. The Demon King isn't happy about being ignored. She summons a massive demonic fist from the ceiling. It hits like a meteor. Hansoo barely dodges, the wind of the impact nearly knocking him over. Jungwook jumps in with his shield, barely holding the line. Finish this quickly, he screams. He's running out of HP and patience. Hanchal is looking for the traitors in the smoke. He turns around to ask Guktae for help. Instead, he gets a dagger to the gut. Hanchiol hits the floor, looking up in pure confusion. What are you doing? Guktae finally drops the act. Striking while you're distracted. Like right now. He signals his squad. The Alliance is officially dead. Xia is horrified. She's trying to rally the remaining loyalists, but Guktae used a toxin on the blade. Hanchal can't even stand up. The traitors start slaughtering their own allies. Hanchal warns them they're all going to die if the Demon King isn't stopped. Guktae gives him the most villainous smirk in the series so far. Doesn't matter. You guys were just trash to fill the ranks anyway. He mentions serving the monarch. He's about to finish Hanchial off, but a chain rattles through the air. Hansoo's sickle slams into the ground between them. Finally showing your true colors, huh? Hansoo looks at Guktae with the same expression you have when your internet cuts out during a rank match. Just pure annoyance. Guktae is shaking. He knows he can't beat Hansoo in a fair fight. He tries to hide behind his squad. He calls Hansoo a discarded pawn of the Black Monarch. He thinks if he can just stall Hansoo, the Demon King will do the dirty work. I'm prepared to be the sacrifice. I'll take you with me. Hansoo stops. He doesn't attack. He looks at Guktae and makes a proposal. It's not a bad offer this time either. The screen goes dark on Guktae's face. Whatever Hansoo said, it stopped the betrayal in its tracks. Explosions are rocking the throne room. Jungwook is getting hammered. Hansoo, when the hell are you coming back? The demonic wolf is about to turn him into a chew toy. Hansoo drops from the ceiling like a Batman entrance. He lands on the wolf's head, wrapping his chains around its muzzle. He snaps its neck without even breaking stride. Xia asks where he's been. Making preparations for what's next. Jimin is currently airborne, having been slapped away by the boss. The Demon King is officially bored. She winds up for a punch that looks like it could level a city block. Hansoo parries with his bare arm, the shockwave shattering the pillars behind him. He's drawing out his own magic now. He slides under her guard. The chains wrap around her, tighter and tighter. She screams, her shadow energy sputtering out. "How dare you!" Hansoo has her pinned. He's looking for the heart. Shia and the others are watching, realizing the fight is reaching the climax. "Why are you blocking us?" Hansoo asks the shadows. The Demon King releases a massive pulse of energy. Hansoo takes it point blank. The smoke clears, and the players are covering their eyes. Everyone thinks our guy finally met his limit. Shia isn't buying it. She knows he's too much of a metagaming sweat to die like that. Jimin points upward. He's not dead. He's repositioning. He's using the chains to hang from the ceiling. He launches both sickles. They bite into the boss's shoulders. He yanks himself toward her. He's using her own momentum against her. He lands a kick that sends her flying back into her own throne. She's actually bleeding now. Purple demonic ichor everywhere. But she's laughing. The berserk phase has officially started. "I like this very much." She starts growing. Her horns elongate, her muscles swell. She's drawing out the raw mana of the fortress. She thinks Hansoo is just a human with good gear. Hansoo knows he can't drag this out. He's out of time. He pulls out a shard. He's pouring every drop of mana he has left into one final strike. His hand is glowing with enough power to short-circuit the server. He moves. The Demon King swipes. Hansoo slips the hit. He's inches away from her face. He wraps his chains around her throat one last time. She grabs his arm, crushing the bone. Hansoo doesn't even flinch. He's got that "I'm trading my life for yours" look. "Hanchial! The greatsword! Now!" Wait, Hanchial? Wasn't he dying? Guktai must have given him the antidote as part of Hansoo's proposal. Hanchial tosses a massive stone blade into the air. Hansoo catches it with his one good arm. He brings the weight of the world down on the boss's chest. Slash. She screams. He isn't done. He twists the blade. He finds the first heart. Pop. The Demon King's HP bar deletes itself. She collapses. "How dare you, lowly human." The room goes silent. The mobs start to disintegrate. Everyone is waiting for the victory screen. But Hansoo isn't celebrating. It's not over yet. The Demon King starts to rise. Her eyes are glowing bright red. She's breaking the rules. She's trying to summon her true power from the abyss. A boss using their endgame form in a tutorial area is basically a developer error. She fires a beam of energy that should have wiped the entire room. Shia and Jimin are running for cover. "I'll make you all disappear!" She's a literal god in a room full of level 10s. Hansoo is kneeling, gasping for air. He's done everything he could. Jimin tries to shield Shia, but they both know it's over. The light consumes everything. "Here comes your reward for entertaining me." Then, the light just stops. Hansoo looks up. The Demon King is frozen mid-attack. Glowing chains, much stronger than Hansoo's, are wrapping around her entire body. She's being pulled back, her form flickering like a glitched texture. The throne room is shaking from the system's corrective action. Jungwook is confused. Did he survive? The dust clears. The Demon King is being erased. She's screaming in actual terror now. She's being dragged into a void. To think you had enough strength left to do that, even after taking that hit. Hansoo is coughing up blood. He looks like he just survived a car crash, but he's still standing. Finally, some peace and quiet. The boss lets out one final laugh. She calls him a useless constraint and says she'll see him again. She disappears. The players are in shock. They actually won. The system announces, condition met. The massive crystal portal opens behind the throne. Hansoo stands there, the silhouette of a king. "We all made it! We can go to the next island!" But wait, the purple flames are still flickering. Hansoo realizes something is wrong. Both hearts should have been gone. His eyes go wide. That's the Demon King's ghost or a remnant starts to reform. "I'll bury all of you right here." She's going for a suicide attack. Suddenly, a tiny purple hand reaches out from the shadows. That's enough. It's the fairy, and she doesn't look happy. Violation of regulations will result in punishment. The fairy snaps her fingers, and the boss is deleted from existence. She looks at Hansoo and smiles. "Now, it's your turn to be interesting." The traitor starts screaming about how he's going to kill everyone, but the fairy just sighs. Dealing with half-breeds is apparently a chore. Shut up. And just like that, the illegal power gets sucked right out of him. Lee Guktae and the Demon King's remnants get compressed into a tiny ball of "you're fired." She treats a literal king of hell like a piece of trash that needs to go in the bin. Then she turns to our guy with that customer service smile that makes your skin crawl. Since Hansoo did 99% of the heavy lifting, he's the only one getting a real reward. She drops the loot, the essence of the Demon King. This thing is a literal nuke. It fixes all your stats at 99.99% for a full day. The catch? After that day, your stats drop to 0.01%. It's a win now, die tomorrow button. Hansoo stares at it. He knows this energy. It's pure abyss power. The real game hasn't even started yet. The other clan leaders are standing around looking like they just got participation trophies. They're salty, but they aren't stupid enough to try and take it from him. Xia is already smelling something fishy. The Smog clan, the traitors, are way too quiet. Hansoo just looks at her. It's probably already over. And he doesn't mean the fight, he means the cleanup. Cut to the backlines, and the Smog clan members are finding out that the monarchs sponsoring them have been wiped off the map. Hansoo has a shadow for a reason. While the main group was fighting the boss, Choi Songjin was in the woods taking out the trash. A few minutes ago, the Monarch of Disguise and his squad were feeling pretty good. They found the tower, they had the traps set. Guktai's mission was simple: kill the other leaders and secure the loot. But Guktai was too busy getting executed. These guys thought they were the hunters. They thought Hansoo was the only threat they had to watch. They didn't realize Hansoo had a second monster on a leash. Songjin shows up looking like the protagonist of a horror movie. The traitors realized they made a deal with the wrong side. They try to regroup, but they're already surrounded. Songjin doesn't do negotiations. He moves like a ghost. No sense, no sound. The red-haired guy tries to rally his men, but his legs aren't listening anymore. The ground turns into a swamp. Traps within traps. Songjin used a consumable artifact to pinpoint exactly where they'd be. The realization hits them. They've been outgamed since the second they stepped onto this island. One of the cowards starts begging. "I'll do anything! Spare me!" Songjin's response? No thanks. He doesn't need servants. He needs results. He wipes the blood off his blade and waits for the next batch of deliveries. Songjin thinks back to when Hansoo first recruited him. Hansoo told him, "If you want to be stronger than everyone else, do exactly what I say. Follow me, and I'll show you the real ascension path." He chose the right horse to bet on. Hansoo isn't a leader, he's a gravity well. Everything just falls toward him. Back at the portal, Songjin goes back into the shadows. Now we wait. The moon is up, the stage is set, and a golden crystal appears in the forest. The way to the third stage. Someone is watching the portal from the other side. It's Yeon and a new guy with a scar who looks like he owns the place. They realize Lee Guktai is dead. They aren't even sad. They're just annoyed they have a disruptor in the lobby. The scarred guy checks his stats. He's got that red glow of someone who has been farming players. He knows the remaining travelers have to come through this one route. None of you will get through us unscathed. Welcome to the tutorial stage 3. Passing through the central island was just the mid-game. The goal is the tower. Highest rewards, highest risk. Hansoo is standing by the portal and everyone is looking at him for a let's go speech. He's sitting there casually cleaning his gear and he tells them to think twice. He's basically telling a room full of people who just survived a demon war that they're still too weak. Tower Island will be much harder. No point in dying before you can even get stronger. The crowd is confused. They thought he was their carry. Xia asks if he's not going either. He doesn't answer. He just looks at the shadows. It's just a warning. Take responsibility for yourselves. Xia is staring at him, trying to read the script. She thought he was a gambler. Hanxiel nods. He's tired. The whole alliance is tired. They decide to take the safe route. They'll go to a lower-tier island to rest and farm. Hansoo watches them prepare to leave. Hanxiel comes over to say thanks. A genuine, "we made it because of you" moment. Hansoo's response? "See you again if you're alive." Cold, but honest. Xia and the others follow suit. They think they're being smart by avoiding the hard mode island. The portal flares up. One by one, the travelers leave the stage. They're sick of this place. They want safety. Hansoo stands there alone as the last of them disappear. He told them to make it out alive. Xia gives him one last look before stepping through. She's starting to realize that when Hansoo gives advice, he's usually just clearing the room. Now the hall is empty, except for Yeon, who stayed behind. She's checking something. Sure you are. Hansoo doesn't care. He lets her stay. A ghostly image of a blue-haired guy appears. Another, sponsored player. "I'll see you on the next island." Yeon realizes that Hansoo was whispering to someone. Cut to the Tower Island portal. The scarred guy is waiting. He's got his hand on his sword. His men are in position. "I'll take the first one." He lunges at the portal the second it glows. He's expecting a crowd of exhausted travelers to slaughter. The portal flashes, and it's just Yeon. He nearly takes her head off. "Get down!" She dodges a wave of fire. She's breathing hard. "Arch?" The scarred guy is furious. "Where are the others?" "No one came," she says. He can't believe it. Not a single ant crossed over? He realizes they all fell for Hansoo's trick. Flashback to Hansoo's sincere advice. Scarred guy realizes Hansoo wasn't persuading them to be safe. He was making sure no one got in his way. He punches a rock so hard it shatters. "That brat is really getting on my nerves." He wasted his men and his time waiting for a feast that never arrived. Yeon asks why Hansoo is even doing this. He seems to want to protect people. He's never killed anyone. Scarred guy scoffs. "Then he'll be a hurdle to my plans." He tells Yeon to send a message to all clans on the other islands. "If you see Kang Hansoo, kill him. Don't hold back." He grabs her by the collar. "Don't forget the goal. Don't forget what those monarchs did." He's not just a player. He's a survivor with a grudge. He sends her off to leak Hansoo's stats and gear to the whole server. Yeon asks if he's going to wait. Waiting isn't my thing. He's heading to the tower. Back at the central island, Hansoo finally steps toward the portal. He's smiling. The room is clear. Now I can go. He steps into the light. He stops. How long are you going to stay there? Songjin steps out of the shadows. Long time no see, Hansoo. He holds out his hand. He's got the earrings of the 7 siblings. Hansoo takes them. Good job finding this. Songjin looks relieved. Then he looks at Hansoo and, wait, what? Hansoo uses an artifact and his face starts shifting. The professional regressor is going undercover. Well then, let's head to the tower, shall we? Welcome to the Tower Island. This is the first floor main hall, and it's basically a high-stakes lobby. People are pairing up, trying to find a squad that won't get them killed in the first 5 minutes. Most of these guys are just happy they made it this far. They have no idea what's coming. Hansoo is looking around for the fairy. Usually that little demon is here to troll everyone with the rules, but instead he spots a familiar face. It's Seong Yeon, the girl who was just talking to the scarred monarch. She's walking straight toward him. Hansoo keeps his cool. The disguise is holding, but he knows she's looking for him. She stops and stares. Do you have something to say? A random guy in a beanie interrupts. He thinks he's smooth, asking if they're together. He's trying to recruit them into his party. Typical lobby behavior. Hansoo just wants to get moving. Let's go. Short, sharp, and feminine enough to pass. The party is formed. 10 people. The maximum limit for the first trial. They step through the portal into a cavernous dungeon. The beanie guy is all smiles, thinking he's found some solid teammates. System check. 10 people per room. Better rewards for higher floors. Then we meet the edgy guy. Purple hair, bad attitude, thinks he's the main character. He's already talking about how the survivors get the rewards. A blue-haired girl in the back is already terrified. She's the one who usually dies in the first 10 minutes of an anime. Edgy guy is basically telling her she's already dead weight. Hansoo is just watching. He's not here to save anyone today. He's here to assess the difficulty. The trial begins. Giant ants. Thousands of them. These things aren't the regular mobs you find in the park. They're fast, they're hungry, and they're currently tearing the party apart. One ant lunges at the girl. Beanie guy is panicking. Hansoo realizes the earrings are a double-edged sword. They give him the disguise, but they cut his stats by half. He's currently playing with a massive handicap. You're in the way. He moves. Even at half strength, our guy is a literal glitch in the system. He punches through the ant's head like it was made of wet paper. He leaps into the air, spinning with a dagger, and nails the killing blow from above. He's annoyed. Normally, that's a one-shot. Now he has to hit twice. The girl is crying, thanking him for the save. She's looking at Hansoo with stars in her eyes. You're so strong! Then she drops the name. I'm looking for someone. He uses a cool chain weapon. Do you know Kang Hansoo? Hansoo's internal reaction. Of course I know him. He's me. He tells her to shut up and keep moving. Beanie guy joins in, bragging that he knows Hansoo. Beanie guy starts yapping about how they started out together. Hansoo stops. He's wondering just how far his fame has spread. Beanie guy is really feeling himself now, telling tall tales to impress the girl. But then he asks her, how do you know about Kang Hansoo? She starts rambling about rumors, how strong he is, how he's the hero of the central island. Beanie guy tries to act cool, saying Hansoo is always busy. He looks at the disguised Hansoo and thinks, wait, she kind of looks like him. Flashback to Chapter 1. Beanie guy remembers Hansoo being a total menace. He admits that if Hansoo hadn't been there, everyone would be dead. The trial is ending. Mobs are dead. Just runes on the floor. The exit door appears. Beanie guy is relieved. Let's go together, he says. Everyone thinks they're safe. A spear through the chest. It's the edgy guy. He's finally doing what we all knew he would. The fewer people, the better the artifact grade. He's not just a jerk. He's a min-maxer who thinks killing his team is the smart play. I'll kill all of you and take the artifact myself. He starts slashing. Beanie guy is down. The party is in shambles. The girl is screaming. Beanie guy tries to talk him down. You're dying because you only think of running. Edgy guy turns his spear toward the disguised Hansoo. Steel meets steel. Hansoo isn't even looking at him. Hansoo collapses. He's acting like he's too weak to fight. Beanie guy crawls in front of the girl. Hide behind me! The girl is fumbling with something behind her back. Stay still, she whispers. She pulls out a crossbow. The terrified girl just got a weapon upgrade. One shot, right through the edgy guy's throat. Beanie guy is shocked. You did great! You took advantage of the opening. She's blushing, acting like it was a lucky shot. Then she shoots the beanie guy. Point blank. The mask is off. Seong Yeon is the real apex predator in this room. She pulls out a communication artifact. Monarch, there was no chain user in room 10. I took care of the leftovers. Signing off. She turns to the unconscious woman on the floor. What if he's here? She reaches down to finish the job. Clang. A chain wraps around her arm. Weren't you looking for me? Hansoo is standing right behind her. The disguise is still on, but the vibe is all death. Yeon is currently realizing she just pulled the tail of a dragon. She definitely saw him faint. She saw the weakness. Hansoo just smiles. My acting skills aren't too bad. He puts a finger to his lips. No more yapping to the monarch. I'll send your regards to him myself. One hit. Yeon is out for the count. He checks her gear. Just a scout. Arch really thought one person was enough to catch him. He pulls a rune from her and moves on. We'll meet eventually. No need to be impatient. Hansoo is thinking about his previous life, the meta for the tower. The structure isn't just floors, it's an ascension system. The ultimate goal of the tutorial is to reach the hidden dungeons beyond the 3rd floor. Our guy looks like a boss fight waiting to happen. 2nd floor main hall. He checks his inventory. Most of his artifacts are low-tier trash now. He needs growth types to keep up with his colorless stats. He remembers a set of directions from an old contact, Kang Tae. The room counter hits 50. Time for the next stage. The fairy pops up again. She's looking extra devious today. Welcome to Treasure Island! This is the largest scale room in the tower. The objective: defeat the guardians, get the treasure, bring it to the center. 2-week time limit. Standard survival stuff. Except for the fairy twist, those who don't have artifacts by the end, die. There's only one treasure. You can save 50 people with mid-tier loot, or save one person with a god-tier artifact. It's a social experiment, designed by a sociopath. I love it. 128 guardians. 2 weeks. The math doesn't look good for the week. Hansoo spots a blonde girl watching the crowd. Monarch Unche. She steps forward and starts barking orders. Divide into 5 teams of 10. Hunt 2 guardians a day. She's trying to be a leader, but her eyes say she's already calculated who to sacrifice. The clans are already arguing about working together. Hansoo thinks the strategy is solid, but the people are the problem. He sees Yunche and her squad. They're high rankers, sponsored by monarchs. If you fail, you'll be held accountable. Translation: I'll kill you myself. The non-clan players have no choice but to follow. Yunche tells them to gather at the center once the treasure is found. Hansoo is already bored. He's looking at the map. The guardians are scattered. Moving in a group of 50 is too slow. He decides to go solo. Yunche watches him walk away. Where is that woman going? She senses something is off. Hansoo isn't after the main treasure. He's after the hidden piece. The Philosopher's Stone. Hidden dungeons aren't just about killing bosses. They're about RNG. In his past life, people threw away the ordinary orbs because they wanted the treasure. But if you collect 32 of them, you can craft a mimicry of the Philosopher's Stone. It's a game-breaking item. And Hansoo is the only one who knows the recipe. The guardians aren't easy, and you can only face a few per day. Hansoo draws his daggers. I'll go alone. He finds the first guardian, a giant rock golem. It's massive, but it's slow. Hansoo dodges a fist that craters the ground. He's looking for the core, the glowing eye. Boom. One strike, and the golem is gravel. Nearby, Unche's group hears the explosion. The second guardian is dead! Congratulations! The fairy's voice echoes. Unche is stunned. It's only day 1. Suddenly, a giant red lizard lunges at her. She dodges, spinning into a high kick. She slams the beast into the dirt. An arrow finishes it off. Her squadmate tells her she should have handled it alone. They haven't even seen a guardian yet, but the counter is already at 2. Unche realizes the guardians weren't killed by a group. Someone alone did it. Her squad laughs it off, but she's serious. She checks the map. The guardian in front of them is already gone. Wait, something is coming. A group of players emerges from the brush. They're not hunting guardians. They're hunting players. We shouldn't be aiming for the boss. We should target the ones returning with treasure. They're vultures, waiting for everyone else to do the work. They think they're smart. They think no one will notice if a few people disappear. Unche is disgusted. This is why the tutorial has a 90% death rate. But the ominous aura she felt didn't come from these thugs. I agree. The disguised Hansoo walks out of the shadows. Unche's group stops cold. She looks bruised and tired. Why is she moving alone? Hansoo just smiles that same sharp smile. The hunt is on, and Unche is the first one to realize she's not the hunter. So Hansoo is still smurfing in his disguise, and the blonde archer in Unche's group is losing his mind because our guy just teleported behind them. He's demanding answers, but Hansoo is just here to make a business proposal. I'm not here to talk to you, he says. Classic main character energy, ignoring the side quest to talk to the quest giver. He looks straight at Unche. He knows she's the one holding the leash. He tells her that with her intuition stats, she should already know what's up. Unche's internal monologue is basically a panic attack. She can feel it. This isn't just a strong woman standing in front of her. She describes Hansoo as a shell. Something sinister and massive is hiding inside that body. She realizes that if Hansoo wanted to, he could clear this entire forest and her clan in about 30 seconds. Hansoo tells her to relax. He just needs a favor. The archer tries to interfere again, and Yunche nearly bites his head off, telling him to stay back. The squad is officially terrified. They've never seen their monarch this flustered. She asks why a raid boss level player needs help from her. Hansoo's reason is simple. I need someone to fight at the front instead of me. Translation: I need a meat shield so I can save my mana for the real boss. Yunche points out there are 40 people in the other groups. They can't handle that. Hansoo just stares at her like she's failing a basic math test. Use your monarch trait. Convert the weak ones into your clan. Increase your numbers. Yoonchae is a mood right now. She's already stressed managing her current squad, and now Hansoo wants her to open a daycare for the entire floor. But she doesn't really have a choice. It's either follow Hansoo's plan or find out why her intuition is screaming death. Hansoo stays in the shadows. He's the director, they're the actors. He knows the meta. Intuition is a rare stat in the tutorial, but it's the only thing that makes Yoonchae useful to him. While they're busy, Hansoo casually retrieves the real treasure. He's not even breaking a sweat. Cut to Yoonchae's group. They've rounded up the other players. People are complaining about being tied up and discriminated against. Yoonchae hates this. She's a good person in a world that rewards being a sociopath. She makes everyone a clan member just like Hansoo said. She's exhausted. Being a leader in the Abyss is basically a 24/7 unpaid internship where the interns try to kill you. Suddenly, the system notification hits, "Congratulations! Yo, you found the treasure!" The squad is confused. They haven't even found a clue yet. Hansoo walks out holding the glowing orb. "I found this under a tree!" "Yeah, sure. And I found a legendary artifact in my cereal box this morning." The fairy arrives to confirm it. She's disappointed no one died during the hunt. This fairy is literally the worst part of the user experience. She notes that Yoonchae didn't retrieve it personally, so the rewards are going to be tricky. Time for the choice. Remember the rule, save 50 people with trash loot, or save one person with god tier loot. The crowd is begging, "Please pick number 50, save us!" Yoonchae looks at the number 1 button, the golden cloak. It's right there. She hits number 50. The crowd cheers. They're calling her their true monarch. Yoonchae's eyes go dark, but this is getting boring now. New command, either kill yourselves or kill each other. The crowd freezes. They think she's joking, but the tattoos on their hands start glowing. Then the tattoos vanish. The fairy is laughing her wings off. Do you really think in order to die would work without loyalty? The whole thing was a test. The fairy just wanted to see if Yoonchae would turn into a monster. She tells them all to get lost. The path to the 3rd floor is open. The non-clan members scramble for the exit. Hansoo is already gone. He's a floor ahead of everyone. Hansoo is watching from the bushes. He watches a scout report to a mystery contact. The scout is leaving immediately because her monarch is in danger. Hansoo's snake pet hisses, "Caught you." Finding one person in a dungeon this big is impossible, unless you follow their own GPS. Hansoo has his solution. Cut to a room filled with occult drawings and chalkboards. We see Arch, Lee Wonkyung, studying something called the Dark Monarch. He needs to guide someone into a trap. The woman with him points out that the 3rd floor is the only place it's possible. Once the target enters the 3rd floor, they'll need their clan. That will be your one and only chance. The 3rd floor is basically a preview of the red zone. Extreme heat, poison gas, and monsters that make the 1st floor look like a tutorial for babies. Arch is smirking. He's set the lure. He knows his target is cautious. He looks at the scout, Yeon, and tells her she knows what to do. Back to Hansoo. He looks at his prize, the decent imitation of the Philosopher's Stone. Preparation is complete. He's going after the crazy dark monarch personally. He moves like a blur across the volcanic landscape. Let's follow her now, shall we? The 3rd floor is a literal hellscape. Arch is shouting orders, telling everyone to get to the 3rd floor immediately. The heat is intense. The poison is thick. Giant reptilian monsters are crawling out of the magma. Arch looks at the chaos and mutters that this is just a taste of the real otherworld. His clan is fighting for their lives, but he's standing there like he's watching a boring movie. A giant monster lunges. Arch doesn't even move. He just waits for the impact. He catches the beast's jaws with his bare hands. The ground cracks under his boots. He's straining, but he's not losing. He tosses the massive creature aside like it's a stuffed animal. His men are panicking. "Lord, more are coming!" Arch gives them a classic "follow me if you want to survive" speech. Arch is gritting his teeth. He's thinking about how hard he worked to get here, how many people he had to eliminate to become the strongest. They reach a clearing where the monsters don't go. He feels an aura, something that feels alive. He looks up and sees a massive red crystal shard, and inside that shard are people. The fairy pops up again. Beautiful, right? Perfect tourist spot. She tells him to take a closer look. You might recognize some familiar faces. Arch freezes. He looks into the red light, and his entire world stops. A young girl is floating inside the crystal. "Sojong, my daughter." Soul is burning. Monsters are everywhere. Arch is trying to save his kids. Sojong is bleeding out, begging her dad to save her. But the guild leader at the time orders everyone to retreat and leave the wounded as bait. The guy is laughing, telling Arch his job is to protect the monarch, not worthless things. Arch watched his daughter die because she was considered fodder. He snapped. He didn't just leave the guild. He decided that if trash like that could be a monarch, then he would become the greatest monster of them all. He killed the leader in the middle of the street. The monarch trait manifested right then. It wasn't a blessing. It was a sign that he was destined to kill vermin. He swore he would rule above all monarchs, for Sojong, and he won't stop until he finds his missing son. Arch is shaking as he touches the crystal. He's begging the fairy to tell him how to get her out. The fairy smiles that sharp-toothed smile. That's just a replica from when we brought you all over. It shares her memories though. She tells him the rules are simple. We need ingredients to create something new. Shove someone in alive. Arch's eyes go completely insane. He looks at his own clan. The fairy wags a finger. No, you can't use your own members. That's too easy. She points out that 4 more people just entered the floor. Arch is ready to sacrifice the entire world to see his daughter smile again. I just got this chance now. A scout runs in. Monarch, our members coming up have been taken down. Arch smirks. Capture them alive. Now. He thinks he just found his ingredients. Cut to the entrance. His men are surrounding a group of wounded travelers. They're being dragged toward the crystal. Hansoo is standing nearby, disguised, just watching the drama. Sad I can't have a smoke. They're finally here. Arch walks out with his elite squad. Hansoo identifies him. Lee Wonkyung, the crazy dark monarch. In the future Hansoo came from, this guy's crimes were so long it would take an entire video just to list them. He becomes a mass murderer because he can't bring his daughter back. Hansoo is standing between Arch and the prisoners. He knows Arch is going to commit a massacre that pushes his level to insane heights, but Hansoo isn't here to lecture him. I'll save your son, even if I have to kill you here. That'll even things out for you. Hansoo reaches for his earrings. The disguise drops. The chains come out. Yeon screams. It's him! Arch laughs like a maniac. What fortune? A gift for Sojeong. I'll make use of your useless life. Arch lunges, sword drawn. Suddenly, a massive sandworm monster erupts from the ground between them. The 3rd floor isn't going to let them have their 1v1 that easily. The boss fight just got a 3rd player. The massive sandworm erupts from the floor like it's looking for a snack, and the entire room goes into a panic. Arch's men are screaming for a retreat, thinking this is a wipeout event. Arch is more worried about our guy escaping than the literal giant monster eating his floor. He tells Yeon to keep watch, but Hansoo is already moving. The chains whip out. Hansoo leaps into the air with zero hesitation, and the air splits as the blade passes through the worm's neck. One swing. Total silence. The distraction is dealt with. Hansoo lands and tells Arch the floor is clear now. If you're not coming, I will. Hansoo dives headfirst into the enemy ranks. Arch is starting to sweat. He realizes he's not fighting a player, he's fighting a force of nature. He orders his entire clan to dogpile the chain user. Hansoo's eyes are cold. He's done pretending to be weak. He weaves through the crowd, chains flying in every direction, turning the elite clan into a target range. Arch is confused. The rumors said Hansoo doesn't kill humans. Rumors are a great way to get yourself killed. Hansoo isn't using flashy skills, just pure, refined movement. The scout tells Arch that Hansoo doesn't seem to have any proper defensive skills. Arch takes the bait. He orders his heavy hitters to lead a charging attack to block his movement. The squad moves in, thinking they've finally pinned him down. Hansoo just vaults over them like they're playground equipment. He comes face to face with the scout. She tells him to try dodging this. Hansoo doesn't dodge. He takes the hit intentionally. His arm is bleeding, but he's not flinching. He's calculating. The clan thinks they're winning. They keep pushing forward. Hansoo retaliates, and as the enemies fall, the white crystals start dropping. The Rune Eater snake is out of the bag, and it's vacuuming up the loot, while everyone is distracted. Hansoo is literally farming the boss's minions in the middle of the fight. The enemies are horrified. They think he's bringing a monster around to help him. Arch screams to stop the snake from gaining more power. He's too late. Hansoo is already buffed. The purple aura flares up as a trap skill activates around Hansoo's feet. The scout thinks she's got him. The chains are bound. Hansoo stops moving. Now! Arch screams. They launch everything they have at him. Arch starts his vengeance speech. Talk about bad timing. He's shouting about fallen comrades and his family. While he's yapping, his clan members are dying for him. He uses a monarch skill to force his people to fight, even the wounded ones. Hansoo realizes the guy is a total hypocrite. He claims to value family but treats his clan like expendable HP potions. Arch is grinning like he's already won. No more time to go easy. Hansoo's eyes glow blue. That won't do. He activates Nirmaha's ring. Authority. Destruction. The scout's skill just turns off. The chains break. The trap is gone. She's standing there looking like she just lost her internet connection mid-match. Hansoo smirks. You've fallen right into it. The purple mana vines retreat as Hansoo moves in. Arch realizes he's in deep trouble. Hansoo is closing the distance in a heartbeat. Arch tries to sound tough, saying Hansoo is still just one man. He swings his massive sword for a final blow. Hansoo doesn't move. The blade hits. Arch starts laughing. I won. He thinks he's about to trade Hansoo's life for his daughter's soul. My daughter will be able to live again! He's looking at the ceiling, having a full-blown mental breakdown. Are you done talking? Hansoo is holding the blade with his shoulder. It didn't even go deep. You don't seem to realize that you're the one who walked into a trap. Hansoo pulls out the sickle. The real boss fight begins now. Arch realizes he messed up. He pulls a hidden dagger out of his sleeve. I've already seen all your tricks. They won't work anymore. Hansoo just gives him that "oh you poor child" look. I never said these chains were my only weapon. He activates a skill, and the blue flame ignites. One strike. Arch is pinned against the wall. The clan members are frozen. They can't believe their monarch is being handled like a tutorial mob. Arch is bleeding on the floor, gasping for air. He's trying to rally his troops one last time, telling them to strike while Hansoo is wounded. Hansoo looks at the subordinates. If you want to kill someone else, you need to be prepared to die. Watch from there as your subordinates die, just like you always do. Hansoo is holding one of the high-rankers by the collar like a piece of laundry. The guy is crying. It's a total L for the clan. Arch is staring at the ground, asking, just why? He's completely broken. He screams at Hansoo, asking what he ever did to deserve this. He thinks this is about the rules Hansoo set, the don't kill travelers rule. Hansoo's face goes still. That again. Arch thinks he's being hunted for revenge. He starts bringing up his kids again. Sojong and Minte. He's begging Hansoo to step aside so he can revive them. Arch is on his knees. He's calling Hansoo a hypocrite. You say you save people? You couldn't save my daughter. He's cursing the world, the monarchs, and everything else. He thinks he shouldn't have to follow any rules in a world this cursed. Hansoo just looks down at him. I'm not killing you guys because you broke the rules. Do I look like I have that much time? Hansoo explains the reality. There's a limit to getting stronger from just hunting monsters. You guys are just my stepping stones. We see Hansoo's old squad, Kelsion and Eris. They're in a library, surrounded by stacks of research. Kelsion is explaining the math. If they want to survive what's coming in the future, they need to clear the hidden dungeons. Eris looks hesitant. She doesn't like the price. Then there's the buff guy, always laughing. He says he'll handle the dirty work. He thinks he'll be called a hero and become a ladies' man. Eris hits him for real. Some things never change. Kelsion is dead serious. They need to become stronger because the red zone is coming. Hansoo is watching them, absorbing the logic. He realizes Kelsion's calculations were always right. The tower's hidden dungeon must be cleared. And the only way to get enough power is to make use of the people who were going to die anyway. The buff guy is all for it. Kill the bad guys. Absorb the runes. Become legends. Hansoo nods. If you all agree, I'm fine. Arch is looking up at Hansoo. The realization hits him like a truck. Hansoo isn't a hero. He isn't a villain. He's a survivor who has already seen the end of the world and is willing to do whatever it takes to prevent it. Arch spits blood. This is who you truly are, huh? We messed with the wrong guy. As his life fades, he has one last request. If you find my son, please look after him. Hansoo's response is ice cold. I don't have time for that. One final swing of the chain sickle. Done. Arch is gone. Hansoo stands alone in the silence of the third floor. Cut to Eunchae. She's finally arrived at the hideout. She's complaining about how long they have to protect the place. Her instincts are screaming that something is wrong. Hansoo walks out of the cave, still in disguise. I left you guys alone on purpose. Eunchae jumps 3 feet in the air. She tries to act like they were doing their job. Hansoo knows she didn't see the execution. He was going to kill her if she did. Good work. You can go now. The clan is shocked. We can just leave? They want to go back, but Eunchae stops them. She needs to see what Hansoo did up ahead. Elsewhere, the fairy is clapping. A new traveler has reached the 3rd floor. She's looking at a monitor, grinning. This is getting really interesting. We see a new squad of travelers entering the hellscape. The leader looks determined. Hansoo stops by a blue portal. He touches his earrings and the disguise melts away. He's back to his original form. The female Smurf account is closed. Welcome to the 4th floor, the preparation zone. Hansoo looks at the massive hall. I've gotten closer to the objective. The tutorial is almost over, but the real nightmare is just waking up. Think of this like the lobby before a massive raid. You can't just walk into the next zone, you need a boat. The system makes it sound simple. Hunt monsters, get parts, build your ride. But this is a survival game, not a crafting sim. Better parts mean a better rank for your boat. The fairy is basically telling everyone that if they want to survive the red zone, they better start farming. She drops a shopping list of monster parts and tells everyone to get to work. Naturally, the mid-tier players are already panicking. Clans are scrambling to group up because the math for a large boat doesn't work for solo players. Meanwhile, our guy is standing in the corner, ignoring the tutorial. He's looking for something else. Songjin shows up, looking like he's been busy. They've been planning this since the 1st floor. Songjin notes that Hansoo is finally back in his original form. No more smurfing as a girl. He warns Hansoo that resources for the big boats are limited and time is running out. But Hansoo isn't worried. He's got Mihi and the rest of the clan handling the manual labor. Cut to the woods, where Mihi is currently putting arrows through monster throats. She's actually become a menace while we weren't looking. She's leading a squad, calling out targets like a pro. Back at the lobby, Hansoo pulls out a familiar face. He hands the Rune Eater snake to Songjin. He doesn't need the cheat code pet anymore. He tells Songjin to get ready, because the red zone is where the real game begins. Songjin takes the snake, acknowledging that he only got this strong because Hansoo paved the way. It's a rare moment of respect. Hansoo just gives him that cold stare and says he'll see him at the top. He walks away. Hansoo isn't much for goodbyes. Nearby, a group of survivors is arguing about being late. They mention someone named Wang Qiang and how they wasted too much time. Hansoo's ears perk up. He recognizes the names. One of the guys calls out for someone to come out. It's a guy we've seen before, looking completely lost. The girl in the group asks him if he remembers anything yet. The guy just looks confused. He remembers a stroll with his daughter and nothing else. Apparently, reviving someone in this system comes with a factory reset on their brain. The group moves out, telling the twins to guard the back. Hansoo watches them go. He's not interested in a reunion. He has a deadline. He heads deep into the restricted area of the floor. Most monsters are in the center, but the edges of the zone are where the glitches are. See, every floor in this tower is a simulation. The sky, the water, it's all code. And if it's code, there's a boundary. The system says the tower ends here. Hansoo knows there's a secret level. The hidden dungeon for the red rune. You can't find it by walking through a door. You have to break the game. He draws his blades and uses the first authority of Nirmaha's ring, destruction. He hits the sky so hard the simulation literally cracks open. He's not climbing the tower, he's taking the stairs on the outside of the building. Total main character behavior. He leaps into the void. The wall is already self-repairing. If he didn't have the ring, he'd be crushed. He checks his stats. Everything is in the colorless tier, sitting around 60%. He's at the absolute minimum requirement to be here. He grabs the ledge and pulls himself into a room that shouldn't exist. This is it. Now entering the 5th floor dungeon. According to some legendary player named Ralph Lauren, yeah, the names in this world are weird. This place is a nightmare. Swords start dropping from the ceiling like rain. Hansoo dodges, but he's not looking at the weapons. He knows the mechanic of this room. The light gathers in the center and creates a monster based on the intruder's memories. Hansoo's eyes go wide. A massive, golden dragon is burning a city to the ground. His old squad is screaming. Kelsian is trying to hold a barrier, yelling for humanity to stall for them. Everything is falling apart. They're passing command to the next person in line because the leaders are dying too fast. Hansoo is on the ground, gasping for air. He's holding Kiriel. She's covered in blood. He asks her why. Why did she jump in front of the hit? If she hadn't protected him, she would have survived. Kiriel just smiles. She reaches up with a trembling hand, thanking goodness that he's okay. She tells him he can't stop here. Blood is literally dripping onto his face. She makes him promise to keep going. Hansoo is losing it. He's alone in the rubble of the world. He snaps back to reality. The coldness is back in his eyes. He looks at the manifestation in front of him. The gold worm of Bellium. The thing that ended his previous life. Hansoo stands there, looking up at the beast that killed everyone he loved. But instead of running, he's thanking the system for the opportunity. He reaches into his inventory. He's been hoarding items specifically for this fight. He pulls out the imitation philosopher's stone, the one he traded 32 marbles for on the 2nd floor. It's a massive mana battery. His runes start glowing. Then he pulls out the demonic jade essence, the loot from the Demon King. He eats it. His stats start ticking up. Everything jumps to 99.99%. Every single stat is now at the absolute human limit. The catch? It only lasts 24 hours. After that, his stats crash to 0.01%. He's currently a god on a timer. The worm roars, and the impact shakes the entire room. Hansoo moves before the sound even hits the walls. He's a blur of motion. He activates Nirmaha's ring again. Destruction at 99%. He swings his blade, carving a line of white light through the air. The worm's scales are supposed to be indestructible. The cut isn't deep enough. The dragon's passive armor is built different. The worm opens its maw. Hansoo recognizes the stance. The breath attack is coming. Fire erupts in a massive pillar of light. The room turns into a furnace. Hansoo is standing in the middle of the flames. He looks like he's just enjoying the heating bill. Cut back to the forest. Songjin is standing over a dead monster. Mihi runs up, telling him that's the last of the materials. They've got the kelk slime they need for the boat. Mihi says she wishes Hansoo was with them. Songjin just looks at her. She asks him what he means. He explains that even if Hansoo was here, they'd still just be walking in his shadow. Back to the dungeon. The worm is still blasting. Hansoo thinks about how he ended up in the same spot as before, but this time, he's the one with the meta-knowledge. He dodges the follow-up strike and gets in close. He looks the dragon in the eye. A normal weapon won't work. He pulls out the Decritos sickles. He connects them. The chains glow with a sinister red light. Second authority. Hemorrhage. The chains wrap around the dragon's neck. He pulls, and the spikes bite into the scales. The worm is struggling, but Hansoo is anchored. The enhanced version of Decritos is powerful, but it's eating the weapon's durability. He wonders if it'll hold. No, it has to hold. He's willing to break every weapon in his inventory for this win. The worm's tail comes around like a wrecking ball. Hansoo takes the hit to maintain his grip. The impact sends him flying, but he doesn't let go of the chains. He's coughing up blood, but he's smiling. He starts pulling the chains back in. The spikes tear through the dragon's throat. It's a mess of gold and red. The worm tries to swipe him, but its movements are getting sluggish. The hemorrhage effect is draining its life force directly. The beast lets out a final, pathetic roar. Hansoo is panting, leaning on his broken blade. Done. Back in the woods, Songjin and Mihi are moving out. Songjin says they need to prepare to follow Hansoo. He's looking for specific people. Mihi asks who. Songjin points toward a group of survivors in the distance. He thinks they'll be useful. Somewhere else in the forest, there's a puddle of blood on the ground. A guy is crawling through the dirt. He's been poisoned. He's trying to reach the exit gate. He screams for help, but the people he's calling for are already on their boat. One of the clan members is laughing at him. They used him to gather materials and then dumped him because he wasn't clan material. The guy is furious, but his body is giving out. The boat sails away into the light. He's left alone in the dark, coughing. He tries to find a monster to kill for a quick level up, hoping to find a slime pocket. Then he hears a noise. Something heavy hitting the ground nearby. He looks up, expecting a monster. Instead, a man crashes through the simulation barrier behind him. It's Hansoo, shirtless, covered in dragon blood, and looking like he just walked out of a war zone. The guy just stares. So, our guy just fell through the sky like a blood-covered meteor. He checks the environment. The poison hasn't flooded the floor yet, which means he still has a window. He's looking like a final boss who just finished a 1v1000, and the poison guy he just landed next to is having a total existential crisis. He's asking how Hansoo broke through the wall, but Hansoo is currently doing his favorite thing, ignoring people who aren't useful. He starts walking. No map, no plan, just vibes and a ticking clock. The survivor catches up and asks if Hansoo just enjoys being half naked in the woods. Hansoo finally speaks. "I need to build a ship. No time." The guy thinks he's crazy. Building a ship alone is a death sentence. Suddenly, Hansoo launches into the air like a SpaceX rocket. The survivor is left standing there, wondering if he just hallucinated a shirtless god. Elsewhere, a different group of survivors is having a really bad day. They're struggling against a monster that's way out of their league. Meet the Galapagos crocodile. It's big, it's scaly, and it's currently the top of the food chain. The group is ready to give up when a blur of muscle enters the frame. Hansoo hits the scene like a tactical nuke. No weapons, no armor. Just pure, unadulterated stat check. He catches the croc's attack with his bare hands. The survivors are actually questioning if he's human. The gray cloak guy catches up, panting, and the others ask if he knows this maniac. He's just like, "I met him 30 seconds ago and I'm already tired." Hansoo finishes the croc with a single meaty punch. He rips something out of its back. Everyone thinks he's hunting for loot. But Hansoo is disappointed. It's just a parasite. One of the survivors tries to act like a teammate and suggests they combine materials for a ship. Hansoo shuts that down instantly. A croc parasite only gets you a 20-seater. They start arguing over who gets the scrap Hansoo just threw away. It's like watching two pigeons fight over a french fry while a lion watches. Hansoo drops the bomb. "I'm making a 500-seater ship. For that, you need the heart of a knockrock lizard." Imagine a monster so difficult the game devs basically labeled it, "Do not touch." The gray cloak guy realizes Hansoo is playing a completely different game than everyone else. Hansoo tells them to spread the word. Anyone left on this floor can board his ship. The price? Just bring whatever materials you have. He's essentially starting a budget cruise line for the apocalypse. Cut to the preparation zone. Everyone is gathered at the gate. The gray cloak guy is hoping this isn't a scam. They hear a noise coming from the sky. The ground starts shaking. A mountain-sized lizard falls from the ceiling and lands right in the middle of the lobby. It's the knockrock. And it's dead. Hansoo drops down on top of it, looking like he just finished a light jog. "It seems you're all here. Get ready to go." The gray cloak guy is officially a believer. Hansoo drags the heart over to the ferry. She's checking her watch, annoyed that he finished with time to spare. Hansoo just gives her that "did I stutter" look. He dumps all the materials the other survivors brought in. Slime bags, silk ropes, the works. The ferry is actually impressed by his logistics. She offers him a reward, but Hansoo doesn't care about metals. The poison is already creeping onto the floor. "Just build the ship," she sighs. "I preferred it when they cowered in fear." The system activates. The 500-seater ship manifests. It's massive. A literal fortress on water. The survivors scramble on board. The ferry puts on a captain's hat because she's extra like that. She tells everyone to relax. 3-day journey. And then, she leaves. She tells them to try and survive a long time. The ship sails out into the red horizon. The tutorial is officially over. The red zone begins. The survivors are looking at the view, thinking they made it. But the water isn't just red. It's poison. They're calling Hansoo a good person for letting them on. Hansoo is standing at the rail, and his status screen is bleeding. His stats are in the red, 0.03%, 0.01%. He expected this. He's currently at the weakest point he'll ever be. But he's holding something new. Dragon Energy Arts. The first skill of his new life. Suddenly, a survivor screams. The ships ahead of them are being torn apart. A man is reaching out from the poison water, begging for help. The gray cloak guy recognizes him. It's the group that left him to die. The man is pulled underwater by something fast. A trident pierces the survivor's chest from below. Something is hunting. Monsters in the sea. The ship shakes violently. Hansoo grabs the wheel. He's changing course. The ship swerves so hard everyone is eating deck. The gray cloak guy is yelling for Hansoo to stop. The poisonous sea is a death trap, and if they get attacked, they're cooked. Hansoo just looks at him. Do you think you can save everyone by yourself? He remembers Kirill and Kelsian. The burden of saving everyone is what killed them last time. He steadies the ship. This should be good. Suddenly, a gray hand grips the side of the boat. A survivor climbs up, followed by a squad of people who look like they've been through a blender. The gray cloak guy realizes these are the people who just got stranded. The leader is furious. He thinks they were being left behind. He grabs the gray cloak guy by the throat. A blue flash of light cuts through the air. The leader's arm is pinned to the floor by a throwing knife. Hansoo doesn't even look over. Stop chatting, it's coming. The impact shakes the entire hull. A scream rips through the deck. The accursed survivors have arrived. They look like mermaids from your worst nightmare. Hansoo knows their pattern. They poke holes in the bottom until the ship sinks. The crew is panicking, trying to hit them with ranged attacks. But the mermen are blocking everything with their tridents. Hansoo sighs. If they're not coming, I'll go. He leaps off the side of the 500-seater ship. He hits the poisoned water with a massive splash. Everyone on deck thinks they just watched him commit suicide. But under the surface, the water is boiling. Hansoo activates the Dragon Energy Arts. Even with his stats at 0.01%, a zero numbering skill is a cheat code. The poison water is pushed aside by a golden aura. The mermen surround him, thinking he's an easy snack. The Dragon Arts harness the energy of dragons and slowly transform the user. It's a legendary skill for a reason. Hansoo's eyes turn slitted and reptilian. Scales start forming on his skin. He punches through the first merman's chest. The penetrative force is insane. He notes that it was worth almost dying for. The other mermen stop in their tracks. They try to retreat, but Hansoo isn't in a live-and-let-live mood. He doesn't have time to play games. He tears through the squad like a shark in a bathtub. His movements are fluid, predatory. He's snapping tridents with his bare hands. He launches a trident back at them, skewering two at once. Blood clouds the water. The survivors are dealt with. Hansoo surfaces, gasping for air. The aura fades, and his human form returns. He knows the job isn't done. Water is pouring into the ship through the holes. The crew on deck is ready to attack anything that comes through the breach. A trident head pokes through the floorboards. Hansoo climbs through the hole, looking at the survivors. Watch before you swing. The gray cloak guy is speechless. How are you alive? Hansoo just shakes the water out of his hair. You thought I wouldn't make it? The crew points out that he just made the hole even bigger by climbing through it. Hansoo pulls out some logs. I'm aware. He starts smashing the logs into the holes with his bare hands. He tells them to use the slime bags and arune wood to seal the breaches. The survivors are finally being useful, helping him patch the hull. The poison water is pooling on the floor, emitting fumes. Hansoo tells them to let it evaporate and get back on deck. He checks his new loot, the Trident of the Accursed. It's high durability and poison resistant, a perfect bridge weapon until he fixes his kit. The gray cloak guy is looking at the horizon. He spots something that isn't water, land. Everyone is celebrating, thinking they reached the red zone early. But the ship isn't slowing down. It's supposed to be automatic. The survivors realize the math doesn't add up. Hansoo walks to the front. That isn't land. Those are the roots of the world tree. He looks back at the gray cloak guy. Keep watching. The real show is starting. The water in front of the roots starts to bulge. The ship is tossed around like a toy. A monster the size of a skyscraper erupts from the poison sea. It's the Guardian, and it looks hungry. The red zone doesn't do gentle introductions. As soon as the ship nears the roots, the ocean basically explodes. Our guy is the only one not screaming, mostly because he knew this was coming. Meet the calamity fish. This isn't a boss fight, it's a localized apocalypse with fins. The survivors think they're the main course, but the fish has bigger cravings. The ship is tossed around like a rubber ducky in a tsunami. Everyone is just trying not to become part of the floorboards. Gray Cloak Guy realizes the monster isn't even looking at them. It just unhinges its jaw and deletes a world tree root the size of a city block. Imagine a monster so big that small islands are just snacks. Hansoo explains the mechanics. Depending on the route the ferry sets, you land at different routes. The calamity fish is one of the 5 reasons this entire zone is currently in the garbage bin. Welcome to Elfenheim. Lore drop. The elves used genetic engineering to build the world tree as a fortress. Basically, they tried to build a paradise and nature responded by sending mountain-sized parasites to eat it. The tree couldn't stop the 5 calamities, and Elfenheim went from a utopia to a graveyard real fast. Hansoo grips the rail. He failed to protect the tree in the past. This time, he's actually going to do his job. The fish is full for now, so it's drifting toward its next target. Hansoo decides to follow it, and the survivors are understandably asking if he's lost his mind. Gray Cloak Guy tries to argue for a group vote. Hansoo's response is the most Hansoo thing ever. Oh, right, if you don't like it, get off. He's literally offering to kick them off the ship in the middle of a poison ocean. The ship reaches the roots of the edge, the end of the line. The ship docks, and for the first time these newbies see the scale of the red zone. It's not land, it's just bark and despair. The world tree is dying, and you can see the rot from the surface. It's so massive they can't even see where it ends. Hansoo tells Grey Cloak to smile. They have 2 weeks before the fish comes back to eat this specific root. He tells the group to head up while he handles something else. Grey Cloak follows because, at this point, Hansoo is his only life insurance policy. Hansoo needs to find that person, but before he goes, he destroys the ship. He can't let other clans use his ride. If Hansoo built it, only Hansoo owns it. The survivors spot something in the distance, a giant cross made of metal. It looks artificial, which in a death zone usually means run away. But for desperate newbies, it looks like a sign of civilization. They try to be tactical and send a small scout group. A voice from above calls them a pain. 3 people are standing on the route, looking down like they're watching ants. Meet the Valkyrie clan's helper group. They drop down, making an entrance that screams, "We have higher stats than you." Aaron Pat is surprised 148 people made it out of the tutorial zone. He introduces himself as their savior. The survivors are confused. They thought the fairies were the only admins. Aaron explains that after the tutorial, the fairies stop holding your hand. They just watch you die for entertainment. Baek Minchul and Pam Ferris join the chat. They claim they've been ordered to assist the travelers. And who gave the order? Eris Valentine. She's been in the abyss for 20 years, and she left these helpers behind to help newbies adjust. It sounds like a charity, but in the red zone, nothing is free. The survivors are tempted. Better to follow pros than wander alone. The helpers are already getting annoyed with the fresh meat asking questions. Baek Minchul tells them a stray dog listens better than they do. Pam Ferris, the creepy old lady, shuts him up. They have responsibilities. She puts on a fake smile and tells them to follow. But Aaron drops a warning. Don't think about jumping us just because you have numbers. There are 30,000 helpers in this zone. Basically, if the newbies try anything, they'll be erased from the server. Then, a massive explosion interrupts the recruitment pitch. Something is fighting nearby. The scale of the impact is insane. Aaron tells them not to look. You won't be able to handle anyone here yet. But Baek Minchul recognizes the skill being used. It's a woman fighting. Our guy is currently getting blasted. He's taking hits from a mage who is clearly not happy to see him. She's charging up a spell that looks like a miniature sun. You just finished the tutorial and you dare talk crap? Meet Sophia Viraj, and she is currently trying to turn Hansoo into ash. Sophia is at the end of her rope. She's staring at the calamity fish on the horizon, feeling like a complete failure. She's been trying to get revenge for her parents for years. She wanted to end this before her sibling got dragged into this hellhole too. The world calls her mad because she's the only one trying to kill a monster bigger than a mountain. She's ready to give up until a half-naked guy walks up and calls her by her full name. She thinks he's just another newbie. Hansoo looks like he has no gear, no weapons, and no common sense. He tells her he wants to discuss the fish. Sophia is wary. She asks if he's a quadratus, one of the fish worshippers. Hansoo realizes logic won't work, so he uses the nuclear option. He mentions her sibling. Sophia snaps. She lunges at him, and the ground literally shatters. She's fast, but Hansoo is used to fighting people way above his level. She's unloading every spell in her book. Hansoo is dodging by millimeters. He keeps trying to talk, but Sophia is in full-blown rage mode. You dare mess with me? She activates a massive magic circle. Hansoo realizes he's actually pissed her off. Tri-Jade Frostlight Orbs. Massive frozen comets start raining from the sky. Hansoo decides it's time to stop smurfing. Dragon Energy Arts special move, Species Transformation. He hits the first orb and just shatters it. Sophia is shocked. These orbs freeze the air itself. Hansoo walks through the ice like it's a light mist. He's not even scratched. He says sorry, but his face says, "You're about to lose." You aren't the only one with decent abilities. Nirmaha's Ring. First Authority. Destruction. He hits the root, and the shockwave cancels out her entire spell. Sophia is on the ground, gasping. She can't believe a newbie has mana this dense. She tries to keep fighting, but Hansoo's presence is overwhelming. She pulls out her ultimate weapon, the Book of Alice. Monumental Airpath. The pages of the book fly out, creating a storm of razor-sharp paper. She uses solidification to turn the pages into a massive sword. She's pouring her entire life force into this hit. She swings. Hansoo's eyes glow. His hand turns into a dragon claw. He catches the giant blade with one hand and just crushes it. The explosion of mana is so loud the helpers probably heard it from the next route over. Hansoo stands there, steam rising from his hand. Want to keep going? Sophia is exhausted. She realizes it's pointless. She notes that his special move isn't even perfect yet, and he's already this terrifying. Lore dump on energy arts. Rank is determined by runes, mana barriers, and special abilities. Hansoo's arts are already top tier by red zone standards. Sophia finally calms down enough to ask, "How do you intend to kill the fish?" Over 1,000 people have been eaten trying. She's tired of fighting alone. She tells him to go before he ends up like her. She turns to walk away. It's all a waste of time. Hansoo smiles. If I thought it'd be easy, I wouldn't have come to you. This would be your 14th attempt. Are you giving up? Sophia Verage. She watched her parents die. First attempt. Fail. Fail. Third. Fourth. 13th. Hansoo tells her, without me, you'll fail again. But now I'm here. He promises to make it possible. She looks at him, seeing a flicker of hope for the first time in years. She asks, why are you so determined to catch it? Hansoo's face goes blank. Just want to save 1 billion lives. Or maybe 1.5 billion. Sophia's brain just stalls. You're crazier than most madmen. Suddenly, someone is watching from the shadows. It's Aaron Pat. He realizes things are going weird. He tries to sneak away before Sophia notices him. Hansoo calls him out without even looking back. Aaron puts on his fake customer service face. Nice to meet you, Sophia. Hansoo remembers Aaron. He was around at that time in his previous life. Hansoo smiles. Mind helping us with directions? Aaron is trapped between a dragon man and a mage who can turn the air into ice. And Hansoo just found the first 2 stepping stones for his 1.5 billion life-saving speedrun. But the calamity fish is still out there. And it's getting hungry again. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Upper Town, the safe haven of the Red Zone. It's basically a massive refugee camp for people who aren't strong enough to leave the roots. Aaron Pat explains the logistics. If the calamity fish eats your neighborhood, you move. Simple. He asks the newbies if they're hungry, leading them toward the Valkyrie clan's sketchy soup kitchen. Grey Cloak Guy is hyped for real food, until the chef drops a plate of glowing green slime in front of him. Turns out, everyone eats this stuff. It's the Soylent Green of Elfenheim. It's packed with nutrients, but looking at the guy's face, it probably tastes like battery acid. He's trying to swallow it while the chef explains he'll have to harvest more later. Baek Minshul checks in with Aaron. Suddenly, Aaron spots Hansoo standing in the crowd. He's still shirtless and still looking like he wants to fight the entire camp. Aaron retreats to a tent to sew his torn clothes. He's actually traumatized that a tutorial newbie was trading blows with Sophia Verage. He admits that this year's batch of survivors is built different. The harsher the red zone gets, the stronger the people who survive it become. And they need to be strong, because the calamity fish is basically a mobile delete button. Aaron notes that while most are strong, Hansoo is the only one who is madman tier. He expects rumors to start spreading, and when rumors spread, vultures show up. Speak of the devil. A new player is watching from a nearby ridge. He's got a third eye and a smile that says, I'm about to ruin your afternoon. Back with our duo, Sophia is walking up to Hansoo with a package. She asks if he's done scouting, but Hansoo just gives her the cold shoulder. She throws him a new set of tactical gear. She feels bad for blasting him earlier and wants to start their partnership on the right foot. Hansoo immediately starts stripping in the middle of the street. Sophia has a full-blown anime blush moment while Hansoo just thanks her for the upgrade. Next stop, the Helper Assistance Center. This is another Eris Valentine legacy project, a place to help people find lost family members. The receptionist recognizes Sophia immediately. Sophia is apparently a VIP here, which probably means she donates a lot of loot. Hansoo watches as she checks the recently rescued list. She's looking for her sibling, but the list comes up empty. For a second, her tough girl act slips. She knows the odds aren't good. Hansoo interrupts the emotional beat with cold math. 13 days and 18 hours left. He's fully geared up now, looking like the professional reaper he is. Sophia asks for the plan. You guide me inside. I use my special weapon on its weak spot. Sophia just stares. That's all? Hansoo's chibi face is just like, what's wrong with it? Should I quit? Sophia sighs. You can't kill a natural disaster with a plan that fits on a sticky note. She offers her 30-seater ship for the mission. Hansoo flexes his 500-seater ship like it's a casual weekend flex. She calls him a newbie again, but Hansoo just smirks. He tells her they need to split up to gather materials for the poison. There's a moment of silence. Sophia is looking at him, and for the first time, she sees the ghost of her master in his eyes. That same assured look of someone who has already won the fight. She agrees to the split. She's fully bought in. But before they go, she hands him her real gift, a pair of massive dual axes. Hansoo looks at them, and it triggers a memory of being taught how to survive. This is the first weapon I'm giving you as your master. Classic. Even in a new life, the gear progression feels the same. Hansoo reveals he knows her trait is library. She's the ultimate database of red zone info. Hansoo heads to the outskirts, leaving Sophia to farm the Apon fluids. She's determined to resolve this once and for all. Sophia is moving through the roots, using her paper magic. She's luring the Apon out of its nest and unloading a magical barrage. Suddenly, she stops. Someone is standing behind her. It's Jang Gaesu, and he is definitely not a VIP. Sophia tells him to get lost before she turns him into a bookmark. Gaesu acts like they're old friends, which Sophia clearly disagrees with. He mentions they returned from the belly of the fish together. He launches a sudden attack with a hidden blade. Sophia's barrier barely holds. She opens her book. Manifestation! Magic circles fill the air, blasting the ground around Gaesu. It's a fireworks show of high-tier magic. Gaesu is dodging, but he's looking for something. I hate people who fight without knowing their place. Gaesu smiles. I guess it's inevitable. He pulls back his bandana. The third eye opens, and the screen turns blood red. Sophia flinches. The beacon has locked on. You think fast, but I think ahead. Gaesu gloats about his beacon. He knows Sophia is strong, but he's not here for a fair fight. He mentions he's got an organization backing him. Sophia realizes he's talking about the 1,000 Li. It's a tracking skill that makes stealth impossible. He claims he was just testing her because he heard she lost to a newbie. Sophia tells him to buzz off. She's tired of being probed. Gaesu drops the act. I need to know where Kang Hansoo is. Sophia refuses, but Gaesu isn't asking. He reaches out with a glowing green hand, an investigation skill. He's literally pulling the location from her current status. He calls her soft for not blocking him. Sophia spits back that he should have died in the fish's stomach years ago. Gaesu laughs. He tells her she should have joined Quadratus when she had the chance. Quadratus, the organization that worships the calamities. They don't care about human survival, they want the world tree to rot. Sophia calls them out for what they really are. They lure newbies to safety, let the fish eat them, and then sell the dead people's loot. They're essentially the looters of the apocalypse. Gaesu's response? So what? He views it as a religious ceremony that pays well. He thinks the newbies should be grateful they got to see the inside of a calamity. Sophia is vibrating with rage. Gaesu tells her he'll see her later and leaps away. She notes that for a guy who worships a fish, he sure is fast at running. She remembers what Gaesu was like before the fish. He was a normal survivor until barely living through a digestion cycle turned his brain into scrambled eggs. She wants to chase him, but Hansoo's voice echoes in her head. Focus on the materials. She trusts him. She stays behind to farm. Our guy is currently sprinting across the roots. He's in a deep valley, the kind of place where things that hate light live. He needs the Kukulza's heart for his sclerosing solution. It's the perfect poison for the fish. He finds a deep cave burrowed into the bark. The Kukulza's nest here to avoid being snacks for the fish. He checks the ground. Red water. It's coming. He draws the dual axes. Dragon energy arts activated. His aura flares, and the ground starts boiling. A flock of Kukulzas erupts from the water. They look like bulls with fins and way too many teeth. Hansoo doesn't wait for them to charge. He's a tornado of gold and steel. He's decapitating monsters mid-air. He's jumping off their heads to reach the back line. The slaughter is efficient, brutal, and very fast. He stops for a second. The axes are already cracking. He realizes that even high-tier gear can't handle his chi output for long. He finishes off the pack with a massive overhead swing. The final monster drops. Hansoo notes that he needs to get a proper weapon soon. These axes are basically disposable razors to him. He looks at the horizon. More shadows are moving in the water. He realizes these were just the babies. The parents are coming, and they're 10 times bigger. He tears through the adults with even more speed. He's not even using skills anymore, just pure physical stat checking. He lands on a pile of corpses. He wonders if he should kill more to farm XP, but his stamina is dipping. Constant chi use is expensive. He loots the red runes. Profit. Suddenly, a sound comes from the trees behind him. Something fast cuts through the air. Hansoo flinches, raising his axes just in time. The impact sparks a massive mana surge. The axe heads are literally glowing from the stress. Zhang Gaesu drops down from the canopy. He's impressed. Most people would have been decapitated by that opener. I came to give you an offer. He tells Hansoo to join Quadratus. Someone has an eye on you. He starts his typical villain recruitment monologue. Hansoo doesn't wait for the punchline. He lunges mid-sentence, the axe blade inches from Gaesu's throat. Do you want to die? Hansoo just tried to delete the main scout for the Calamity cult.